the guy Bombad.
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
What is up, Bombad fam? This is your boy Jerry, the Canon Junkie, and welcome to the Bombadcast. There's your boy Scotty. Here we are. We are 4 episodes into being a part of the Beyond the Blast Doors network. That is right. Beyond the Blast Doors network, there is a show for every taste in the Star Wars fan universe,
Including me?
That I don't care. Even for you, Scotty, there might be something about obscure alt rockers or whatever. I don't know. We'll find some. Well, we got an interview with Mac DeMarco. But guys, if you like collecting, check out. You got to check out Hollow Chronicles. Those guys, Andy and Josh over there, they're just
the best.
Yeah, kill it on the collecting.
Yes.
Around the Galaxy with P. Fletzer, talking to all kinds of people across the Star Wars Twitter fandom and just Star Wars fandom in general. Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge with Shannon Morin. She's a visual effects artist who gets just a bunch of really cool, fun conversations on a different Canon Planet weekly, and she's got a very handsome navigator too.
Yeah, I've heard about him. I heard he's always good about getting his work done early and sending early.
Yeah. Whew. That was a
Might have been a stab.
that was a strategic hit. Very good. Very good. You sunk my battleship, sir. Then we got Beyond the Blast Doors Live, the flagship show with Mr. David Amilati himself. The beautiful, try not to get lost in his eyes. I dare you. It's almost as bad as Scotty. He's second only to Scotty when it comes to getting lost in someone's eyes.
I don't know. Pete's pretty handsome.
And sometimes he wears sleeves.
Katie looked at this. Is crazy. Wait, real quick. Katie was literally.
Wait.
We're talking about Pete on streaming Star Wars, and she goes, "What a fox!" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" So,
I would say a silver fox, but that is Mr. Pete Fletzer. Oh my gosh, what a silver fox! And then you've got the young apprentice fox, or he's probably going to kill me for even saying that. When David, on streaming Star Wars, which is again our final show right now, and some maybe good stuff in the works for you guys coming soon. But go check out all that content, and if you like what we are doing, what they are doing, if you like the flexing that's going on with Scotty, then why don't you go and support us on Patreon? And again. Dude, it's a hard time for everybody with all the craziness that's going on in the world. So, man, we appreciate whatever you can do.
Give us your money!
We do this all for fun, anyway.
Now!
But it really helps us.
Everyone gets it evenly. Give it to us. Give it to us. $50. We all split it. Give it to us.
We really just enjoy. Talking about Star Wars, and we like to do. Look at me. See, I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm putting on my hood. I was trying to be strategic about it, but it didn't quite work. You went too fast.
A little bit of a vlogger now.
Now I'm gonna pull my headphones and stuff too while I'm doing it. There you go. This show's off to a great start. But welcome, guys, to the Bombadcast. What's up, Scotty?
Dude,
yeah,
I'm about to talk about one of my favorite Star Wars movies today. And it's perfect because we got our people at TRB who have coined the term.
TRB!
The great. That have coined the term, one of the best terms in the business. That term is #make Solo 2 happen. Jerry, you got the shirt. Let's see it. Give us the shirt.
I do. Look at this.
Look at the shirt. Everyone look home and get full screen.
There. I don't know if
you can see some of Jerry's nipples if you look hard enough.
Is it? Well, I mean, they are harder, but yeah, there you go. Make Solo 2 happen. And that is not this is not a campaign to get more Solo cups in the grocery stores right now, which I'm sure are selling out. I saw on a Now This video actually the other day. They're selling out a lot. But no, this is Make Solo 2 Happen.
Sorry.
I like your cup, Scotty. I like it.
I didn't know. I swear I thought we weren't recording.
I mean, it seems like we are just from the way we're acting, but that's
maybe.
That's just how it goes.
Like
you know, that's you guys are like used to it by now. If you're not, welcome to the Bombadcast. Welcome to the Bombad fam. Yes, we've got. What are we talking about today, Scotty? Whoa! It seems that we are.
What is that?
I got these things just for luck right here.
It's like, do they like glisten?
We're talking about.
Holy cow! Wait, do you see that in the shot? Like they literally are like shimmering, dude. Like wiggle.
It's pretty great.
Like kind of shake them for a second. Shake both of them. Watch. They'll like glisten. Like, and then
I feel a little dirty. Shake them a little. These are surprisingly heavy.
Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised that this is like the arm is probably like going to slowly go down eventually. Like if you sped up like our cameras and stuff, like the whole show, it's my mic will probably move a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, these were in my car that I don't drive anymore, and you know, quarantine, all that kind of jazz. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pull them out of the old Falcon. I'm gonna bring them down here to the command center, to the Rebel command. I don't know. Yeah. Here you go. Chewie, what's up? Is that a classic Chewie?
Oh, it's a Kenner. Yeah, baby. You know
me.
I'm all about that vintage stuff, baby. How you doing, baby?
Maybe you should join the Holo Chronicles guys. You know,
I'm not cool enough.
I've got Kenner action figures. I got my Black Series. I got my Black Series set up from Solo. I've got a
sick.
Han.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got? I've got everybody's favorite L3 and Mr. Donald Glover.
Yes.
As well.
Oh, sick! I never got that one. Look, see, the only Solo stuff I have, like from then, was this. Love this book.
Right.
One of the greatest canon books. Let me get me full screen because I'm really important. I've got the Lego. Oh, almost dropped it. Lego Patrol.
Oh my gosh,
little dude. Yeah,
it's so funny if you just shattered it on air.
I got my Denny's cup, and the lady that served me this was so extremely stoned in New Orleans. And I was like, "Can I please just get my cup?" She's like, "You wanted an egg cup?" And I'm like, "No."
Did she work at Denny's, or was she just hanging out in the Denny's?
No, it was the woman. That was woman with the syringe in her arm behind the Denny's. No, I'm just kidding. It was an employee at Denny's. It was an employee at Denny's. She was just baked.
There's that signature dark humor you guys love with us. There you go.
Yep. I'm a little wacky right now, only because I just got finished watching one of my favorite movies, and we're talking about Solo today. Make Solo 2 happen. Like that is like a huge theme of this episode because we're gonna
Solo 2 happen, baby.
Can we be honest up front? If you were there for the Bombad Buildup, you know how long those ran. Solo does not have that many thematic parallels. There's a good bit, and that will be addressed. But there's not as many as the prequels had, which our longest episode, I believe, was TLJ, and the prequels were all the longest ones, and they were like, I think one of them was 3 hours and 50 minutes. Like, I don't think it's going to go on that long. We might go on a little longer than we normally do. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to go through like sequence by sequence of this movie. But before we really address that, before we really get into that, I want to talk to you about something, Jerry, because I don't think we've ever talked about this. And Jerry and I have known each other and been doing this for almost a year now, and we've never really brought this up. But, Jerry, what was it like seeing this movie that first night? Like, but what was it like seeing it in theaters?
My glasses are fogged over, sorry. What was it like seeing that in theaters?
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. No, but really, for real, what was it that opening night? Like, I remember that opening night vividly because it was almost a year ago when this. By the time this is airing, I think it really would have been. This is airing Saturday the 23rd. Yeah, Saturday the 23rd, and this, yeah. So it would have been, I believe, the 24th when it came out 2 years ago. So
yeah.
What was it like for you? Because I can vividly tell you my experience, but what was it like for you? Do you remember?
Well, let me try to reach back 2 years ago. I was actually visiting my parents in Arkansas, my old hometown, and went to. This is insane. It was kind of like. It was a weird experience for me because it was like going home, and at the same time it was like, I don't know. It was a lot of things. It's the first of the new Star Wars movies I actually got to watch with my family for the first time, which was cool.
Oh, wow. That's badass.
It was also Solo, like this viewing of Solo was actually very special because I was with them
too.
And we did not know that my cousin and his family, my cousin, he's like 10 years older than me. It's the one, Joey, who I talked about, who got me into Star Wars, showed me like the duel, you know, and like always was like, dude, you love Star Wars. He's like like 15, 20, like I forget how many. Joey, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like say you're like crazy old, but like he's, you know, like several years older than me, man. I was a little kid. He was in high school and all that kind of stuff. But he and his family turned out to be at the theater That's opening
amazing.
Night, our showing, to watch that movie. And we all sat on a big row, and like I got to sit by my cousin Joey, who got me into, and my mom is in tears at this point with me describing this if she is watching this episode. The man who really kind of introduced me that I like for the biggest into Star Wars, sitting next to me the whole time. We're like, you know, talking to each other in it and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm a bigger nerd than he is, at least because I follow all the books and all that kind of stuff. He loves it. He loves hearing about it. But it's just like, you know, he has a life and I have a life, but nerd.
Yes,
but anyway,
still,
dude.
obviously.
So that first viewing, I don't know how you felt. This was the first Disney era film that I didn't walk out feeling blown away completely. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, that was really good. Not that it was bad. It was just the first one where I remember going, yeah, that's a Star Wars. Wow, this, okay.
I can relate.
Yeah.
I can relate.
Better, you know, it's funny. That's also the same actual auditorium that I watched the 2008 Clone Wars movie in when I was working.
Sick.
This is the theater I worked at when I was like just out of high school, man. For like
it
8
really
years.
was a homecoming for you in a weird, like, you were at the theater.
Yeah.
You were with your family, and then your cousin happened. Dude, that is a really weird homecoming. What a that is spectacular.
Well, and then my buddy,
that's
shout
pretty
out to
good.
my buddy Phil, who I met at the movie theater. Like we worked there, and he was still like, he's like head projectionist at this point and stuff.
Wow.
And he actually runs his own video production company in Northeast Arkansas. So shout out to PHC Studios. My buddy Phil, check him out. Good guy. You know, and I don't know, he's all right, I guess. He was funnier when he was. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that because anyway. I'm about to get real personal. But anyway, I came out and he was there, and I got to talk to him about it afterwards. He's the one who was kind of like my canary in the coal mine of how people were taking the Disney era of Star Wars, where he was kind of like on Force Awakens. Like he was, you know, he had to, like I had to talk to you after Rise of Skywalker, remember?
Yeah.
He was like waiting for me as soon as I saw it because he like, you know, he still works there as a projectionist making extra money. And, you know, has to screen them beforehand and all that. So he watches it the night before it drops and then is like, I can't wait to talk to someone about this. But anyway, it was interesting talking to him right after. Those conversations go a lot better in person, by the way, than through text but anyway,
always
dude, do. It was just a crazy, weird experience. It was awesome. It was unique in all of my viewing, my modern viewings as an adult. Like, it just, I don't know. It was different for me than any of the other ones. But no, Scott, what about you, man? Tell me yours, because I've rambled on for too long about it.
No. Mine was special too. And don't get me wrong. It was one of those, like, at the time I was house sitting for someone and I had a lot of, like, it was from like the beginning of May. I was house sitting for a friend of my family. And it was great because it was kind of like the first time you ever had like a full place alone to yourself, like a full house. And
Right.
of course, Katie was coming in out of there. And I had the chance to watch Empire Strikes Back before, like the night before. And I was kind of hyping myself up. I had taken off work that day. I was working at a center for people with autism. And
nice.
I loved that job. And so what I'm trying to say essentially was like I had taken off work from that place for that day, and I was like, let's make a day of it. And of course, Katie does it in the most Katie way. Katie's always made those days super special for me. And this time, I was at that house, which is really close to my mom's house. And I then go to my mom's house, and Katie's like, "Oh, I'm already here." I said, "Perfect." And she walks out, and she like done a mini cosplay of Han Solo. I'll post this on Make Solo 2 Happen Day.
That's legit.
Yes, she did a mini cosplay where she took ribbon from Christmas, like Christmas ribbon for like presents.
Yeah.
And she super glued it to an old pair of jeans.
Oh, nice.
And she
Made the Corellian blood
stripes.
stripe.
Yeah. Dude, it was awesome.
Nerd flex.
And then and we had bought tickets for this, of course, and they dropped like 2 months before. And Solo was one of those. I remember seeing it in theaters. I remember loving it. It was the very first one to make me irrationally cry, and I don't know why.
Really?
It was the opening sequence with the Lucasfilm logo long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Then da-da-da, and it had just those weird that is almost the best second to the opening crawl. Like that text that they did for Solo. And like I think I just teared up because like, you know, this is the way they describe it. I don't have it written out exactly, but it was just like in a lawless time, you know. I'm like, oh, like they did it in such a clever way because it's such a good way to introduce the movie. But yeah, that movie I came out of it was one of the first ones I kind of came out like, man, that was a great Star Wars movie. And I think with each consecutive viewing, I loved it way more. There was a few moments where the twist, it was on, we'll get to it. It's not really even a twist, but to me, it's one of the greatest Star Wars, I guess, theater moments of my entire life. Like I thought TLJ was it when I saw it, but the moment in this movie, I was like, they're putting a lot of weight on the shoulders of fans and people that aren't fans with its twist, but we'll get to that later. I'm telling you, it still makes me tear up because they did it. But yeah, dude, that was a great showing. I remember leaving that movie very satisfied, wanting to see it again. I think I did see it the next day. And you know what? Same with me. I'm kind of like this. Katie and I see it that opening night. Then I make my mom's side go see it. Then I make my dad's side go see it. And it was weird because I kind of want to voice a complaint now. Can we do the complaining section just real quick?
Sure. You can zoom back in on yourself if you want to.
Okay.
I don't want to be part of it.
I've never been with. Well, you might hold the same feeling. I think a lot of Star Wars fans who are not vocal about it do too. And I think you as a listener, if you're watching it, you might feel the same exact way. But Disney, and I'm never on this bandwagon, but Disney really screwed this movie, and I will take it to the grave.
Oh.
And I felt like my voice choke up for a second, but I will admit Disney obliterated and ruined this movie because of its marketing, and that's it. The whole movie is amazing. I love this movie. I love watching it now. It gets me more excited than The Force Awakens because I think I just like this movie more than The Force Awakens. But Disney destroyed this movie. And like, I'm glad it's been admitted that they did that.
Well, not the movie specifically, right? But the release
I'm
date,
sorry.
right?
The marketing.
Yes, and all of that.
They ruined. The first literal trailer was 100 days before the movie dropped. And it was during the Super Bowl. And I remember getting the notification on my phone. And I don't know. I'm never this kind of person. And I'm never the kind of person that complain. But I'm going to say it here. And I never really said this in Bombadcast, but you kind of made a mistake, Bob. I agree.
Yeah. Well, I think he agrees. I think he said, it's like, well, you know.
He does agree.
Work out like I thought it would.
I don't know why they did. Dude, it would have been a great December release. It would have done huge numbers. Because there was no good movies that December. I remember.
Well, no. You're not alone for sure. You're not alone.
I know.
Here's where we do our.
But how do you feel? Let me get you
do our
big.
dyad. Hold on. Go back. Go back.
Yeah.
Go back.
Let me
Your dyad.
go back. Okay.
The other way.
Dang it! Just ruined it.
I wish that like
did
we need
Rudy
like a
again.
hand to come through your side, honestly. So here we go. Pound it.
Yeah, pound it. Oh wait, no, we're gonna pound it.
Okay, yeah, this sucks. Go tight again.
All right,
go tight.
I didn't think about it. All right, how do you feel about it, Rick? For real,
it was fumbled, and it definitely that theater was not full.
It wasn't, and I
the
hated
opening
that.
night. It felt like the weirdest opening night too. It was like I know I talked about there's a lot of this like kind of crazy nostalgic stuff for me that night. Like going back home, almost like, prodigal son style to like, here, I'm going to watch a Star Wars in this
so awesome
place where I used to spend a lot of time. I mean, and it like, yeah, never mind. I was going to say great theater. I don't know. I'm so like spoiled on theaters up here. There's like so many theaters near me that are like, premium experience now that like, sorry, little Arkansas theaters are. I'm going to just drink some coffee real quick. Hold on.
No, I want to tell y'all, but this was the movies that released in December of 2018. I got to say it. This is the movies that released them. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that was in November.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but you got to think about this.
Counter-programming.
Solo would have just destroyed. Well, Solo would have done so well in this bracket. Okay, Aquaman, remember that was December. Mary Poppins Returns, that was December. That was great. I loved it. Bumblebee, Holmes and Watson, The Mule, and Welcome to Marwen. Now, you think Solo would have done really well? Yeah, I do. Solo would have blew it out the box. And if they marketed it...
Not necessarily a stacked holiday season, but, I mean...
A Star Wars would have done
a couple of good hitters in there, like Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Like, Academy Award winning, right? Am I remember, or was it just nominated? I can't remember now.
I don't remember, to be honest with you, but I will say... The movie would have fit just so good. Let's be real.
Well, it would have. And also, I don't know if you're the one who keeps creating all those bot accounts that, last hashtag Make Solo 2 happen day. That was the first one, right? Yeah. How many times, because I remember being like, that was right before we started the Bombadcast.
Yes. Yeah,
but
it was.
We were all like on board, like TRB, like John and Lacey and James were like, dude, hey, we're doing this. And we were all like, yeah, we're going to. I mean, it was trending.
Of course.
It's crazy. It came out of nowhere. Everyone was like, why? And then that's where you had the flood of people who are. It's funny because it's like they didn't believe that we could like the movie and one another one. And it's like, how many times did you get, then why didn't you go see it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there were so many people upset. I'm like, why are you, if you liked it, why are you like upset and not like, yeah, let's make it happen. I didn't know there were this many people,
Yeah.
But that was the thing that was so surprising to me was like so many people were like, oh, like, where were you? Like, I on a lot of my posts, like, where were you? Like, when it came out last year, I was like, I was in the theater opening night, dude.
Dude, I saw this movie 5 times.
For real.
I love this movie.
I didn't get to watch this one that many times. Oh no, I went another couple of times with people. I took people, but it's like I was there. I saw it like 3 times in theaters, guys. Like, this isn't, and it's funny. A lot of people are discovering it now that it's been on like streaming. It's on Netflix still. It's going to be on Disney Plus probably this year sometime. I don't know when. I'm going to guess sometime this summer.
Yeah.
But dude, what? I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I guess the heart of this,
the anger is not unfounded.
No.
And
I have never.
It needs to continue.
Well, yeah, it does. It does need to continue, and that was my next point. Was the fact that like we both watched it before we got in this discussion. There's so many just great hints at like, hey, we're gonna do another one of these, and the movie itself is fantastic. The characters, the casting, it's amazing. The music is perfect. And they could pull it off as a TV show. It was just the fact that it just, I don't know, to me, I barely saw TV spots. I barely saw anything. And even when
there was barely any, like this was the only movie they didn't do like a Force Friday, right?
Yeah, there wasn't a Force, dude. They had the
There was barely any end caps.
Well, it's funny because it was one of the only premieres besides The Force Awakens where George was there too. I don't know. It's just weird because this is what I don't understand. I don't even know if it was and this is going to sound so bad, but like, I know it wasn't a stab at George or John Kasdan, but this was the very first thing that George was like, hey, since you acquired my stuff, you're going to let Lawrence Kasdan write this. He's going to be the one that does this movie, you know? He's going to be the writer. Right. He's going to be the one that like kind of show runs it. And obviously with the Lord and Miller situation, it was true. There was creative differences. But from everything we heard on set, it was because Lord and Miller were like, hey, just improvise. And everyone was uncomfortable on set when that happened. And that was their choice. And obviously it I guess, led to them being let go of the project. And Ron Howard saving the day. Not to be that guy, but literally it was like October when they were like, yeah.
It's funny, like, I remember where I was. Like,
yeah, you did too. Okay, so
I was at my,
because I think this is interesting.
Well, I was like at my factory job, and got the notification like Ron Howard's directing, or I was listening to a podcast or whatever.
What about the one where they were like, they've stepped down from the project? They literally, Lucasfilm made a post about that.
Oh, dude,
crazy.
It was like, whoa. It was our first like foray into, whoa, wait a second, this isn't perfect, is it?
Yes.
Because up to that point, I mean, we had been already in arguments with people about The Last Jedi, but I was like, why are you people like fighting so hard against, like, it's been perfect ever, like, since Disney took hold of it, you know? I mean, it was perfect before, but like it had went off without a hitch, and like people were liking things. Then Last Jedi hit, and people started to like come out of the woodwork,
things to be mad about. Mm-hmm.
And this was like the first instance of like, whoa, okay, wait, hold on, what's going on? Like, and I don't know. It was maybe the first chink in the armor, maybe our first like, maybe we need to reevaluate how much like. How tall the pedestal is we put these people on. Yes. And stuff. Because our expectations are insanely high, you know?
Oh, of course.
So, which I mean, they should be. But we're not, again, they're not like slapping stickers on packs of meat to sell. Like, we're not consumers and like, in that kind of, anyway, I'm about to.
Sure. No. What I know what you're trying to get at was the fact when they were like, not going to go with them. You know, and I get it.
Right.
Because I feel like this could have been a different movie if it was handled the way it was handled, apparently, during that production.
Right.
But Ron Howard saving the day is interesting because he was obviously a Lucasfilm vet with a Willow. And the one that they probably really could have just gave this movie to in the first place. Because, like, he's got a sense of all this. And he's a genius. Yeah. And, like, I don't know. If Make Solo 2 happened, I would love if they did a show running with Ron Howard, you know, and then he had the different directors come in and do their thing, kind of like they're doing with The Mandalorian. Right. Because the movie has sequences that feel like it was a Phil Lord and a Chris Miller movie. You know, really, it does. Like, there's just some bits that I'm like, oh, that was totally not like, you know, classic kind of movie style.
Well, and I mean, you remember like right after Spider-Verse came out, people were like, oh, you should have left it with them because they did amazing. And it's like, yes. And I think that they still could do a good thing. Sure. But I don't know. It was mishandled a bit. It was mishandled, and that's going to happen because, I'm sorry, guys, they're human beings. Yeah. George is the Diet Coke, Hershey bar eating God amongst mortals, and even he is not perfect.
Yes.
You know? And it's, you know, I don't know. I think that he took up a huge responsibility and did the best he could with it. And I love it. But like you're saying, hashtag make Solo 2 happen.
Yes.
It is not just a Solo movie. It's like, we want more. We want to continue the story of Han Solo. You could have the adventures of Han Solo and Lando. And I don't think that was the last time Lando and Han saw each other.
Oh, hell no. No.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, because like you see that they have such a history in Empire. So I feel like there's got to be so much more to be filled in there.
Because there's that line where Chewie's even like, where Han's like, I guess Chewie says, "Well, you think he remembers that?" And Chewie, and then Han's like, and Empire Strikes Back. Han's like, I don't think so. I'm not worried about
right.
whatever Han
well,
says.
and people, he could be talking about damaging the Falcon or launching the escape pod or whatever.
Anything.
But I think of course he would remember that because that was like his baby.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing between them. I think it reads more as like a, hey, remember this one time when you accidentally kind of did that? You know, blah blah blah.
Yes.
It's, I'm sure he's forgotten about that,
Yeah, that's a line. I'm sure he's forgotten about that. That's the exact line.
Right.
Well,
but
can I say...
Go ahead. I was just going to say that it doesn't have to be a movie. Like, that is just a cool, like John and them say, it's a cool hashtag, and you just want, like, continue the story. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
Be sure. No, I'm just saying, I believe it's... I believe it will be. Will it be Sunday? Is that the Make Solo 2 Happen Day? Sunday the 24th or Monday the 25th? I don't remember. Don't remember exactly which one.
I thought it was the 25th.
Maybe it is, but if you're watching this, the 25th, the 24th, whatever day you're watching this, make sure you blow. You're
watching this
up.
on Make Solo 2 Happen weekend, right?
Yes. Right.
Yes. It's a weekend.
But one thing that this Make Solo 2 show is going to need. It's going to need John Kasdan. Lawrence Kasdan did a great job with writing it, but John Kasdan was the one that, like, I don't know if you're a big canon junkie like Jerry and I are.
Oh, man, he is. We should get John on the show, man. Go back and forth.
That's the thing. John...
Anytime, John. You're welcome. Come on, buddy.
Anytime. John Kasdan was the one that, like, Easter egged the hell out of this movie. I mean, the one line that I'll say right now that'll get Jerry super excited, because I want to see his face... Terrace Kasi.
Oh, dude. I had that game. I was terrible at it. I didn't know what Mortal Kombat was. I did know what Mortal Kombat was, but I never played it. But Star Wars Mortal Kombat, man.
Look, here's another one that'll get the canon junkie all hyped up. Ready? Colo Clawfish.
What? Colo Clawfish. Oh, dude. Yeah. It's like a canon junkie's, like... It's a canon junkie's crack, for real.
Yeah,
it really
it
is.
For real is.
Crack cocaine. It's a drug. It's not like my crack. Woo! Okay. There you go. You're welcome, Rick.
Rick.
Dude.
Rick.
I don't know. Like, all that. The Terrace Kasi reference was great and stuff. Mm-hmm. And now there's, like, even stuff in there that we didn't really know about before. Like, there are Galaxy's Edge references.
Oh, yeah.
That we didn't really know about until later on. Like, they mentioned Black Spire Outpost. They mentioned, hey, are you attending to Doc Ondar and stuff? And I never caught it until, like, it was pointed out after it all came out. And now it's like, when it came out, it was like, oh, there's just names. And now it's like, whoa! Like, you can go to Galaxy's Edge and be like, oh, Qira knows who he is. And, like, he was in that scene somewhere, and then I don't know. I love stuff like that. I know people are kind of like that's like, ooh, it's cheesy, whatever. It makes the world too small. Yeah, come in and out. Zoom. Make my heart go boom, boom. There you go for you '90s kids. Dude, I don't know. I think that stuff is sweet, and
it is. That's the thing.
John is a master at that.
He's got to be the one to pull it in there because. Obviously, like, the Pikes were a thing that were listed, and even the character we'll bring up later was like his idea. I don't know. It's super sweet. I mean,
can I say that one of my gripes with the Pikes is their heads aren't big enough? Like I know Clone Wars is like, but I'm like, just I don't know.
Yeah, but still, it's there. It's there, and like the droids are there.
They're
everything.
the Pikes, yeah.
Yes. I guess let's do it. Let's get into this. You ready?
Let's. Get in, man. Now, let's dive in.
For anyone that's not familiar with how this is going to operate, the Bombad Buildup, which is something we did at Christmas time with the Rise, or like the leading up to the Rise of Skywalker, super deep dive on like every moment and sequence in the movie. We're going to do that tonight. We might try to speed up through some stuff because, like I said earlier, there's not that many like really big thematic parallels like the prequels have with the sequels and the originals. I mean, there's a lot of that. This one really was its own standalone thing. The character of Han within itself is the thematic kind of discussion, Han being the character he is in this movie, then the character he is in A New Hope. and then his change of character by Return of the Jedi, then kind of back to that same character in The Force Awakens, then progresses back to his, kind of more wise state. But yeah, this is still going to be a deep dive. We're going to break into almost every sequence of the movie, kind of figure out some things we really like about it. They could be canon things. They could even be like just Easter eggs. They could be just moments that we are all very fond of. But yeah, Jerry, you ready, brother?
I'm ready, Scotty. Let's get into it, man, because
okay.
Quite frankly, I'm just going to talk endlessly about other stuff if we don't. So
okay. So the opening sequence, very different. I'm reading my notes, by the way. When you see me look down, I'm not looking at.
We're texting each other about
cards,
all of you guys out there.
Yeah, we're like, look at these morons listening to us. No, give us your money. No, the opening sequence. The opening sequence was amazing, and it was, for some reason, when I watched it, don't know why, when that Lucasfilm logo showed up, I teared up. I don't know if it was like just because it was good. I don't know. I just freaked out. The prologue, probably one of the best prologues to a Star Wars movie, only because it was so different. Rogue One didn't have one. Mandalorian obviously hadn't had anything, but there's no narrator. It literally went into like just this blue text, and it wasn't like the da-da! It was just kind of slow build, and
right.
I don't know, the intro to me, and this is going to be interesting. Very George Lucas, very hot rod, like the spark of light is kind of what brings it there. Another spark of light. He's like, come on. And he's talking to it. I don't know. I love that moment. And like Kate and I were watching it together, and I'm like, man, that's a cool opening sequence. Very different, And he's kind of panicking. I love it. But yeah, the John Williams song. What? How cool is that? They got him to come back and just do one song for it, and it was great.
Right. Well, not even just like a theme for Han, which is something he never really did, which is crazy. You never really think about it because it's almost like, I don't know, like the theme that's always attributed to Luke is like, I feel like just the Star Wars theme. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it is the Star Wars theme, but I don't know. You almost think the Falcon, what we now kind of think of as the Falcon theme, which is just a variation of the main theme anyway. I almost think of that as his, but to have that I'm no David W. Collins. I'm sorry.
No, but, you do a great job though.
Well, thank you. But
it's that shot too of him escaping, and like you pan up and you get the logo, and then they go through it. And it cuts back to him. It's cool. It's great.
It's amazing. It's different than anything we've ever really gotten. You had like you said that low at first, which is funny. Everyone complained that Rogue One didn't have a crawl, and they thought it should have something because it's like cold open, which I kind of love that it's different, that it has the cold open because I don't know. Yeah, we're not gonna not ever get a Star Wars crawl ever again. Like that's something they're going to have to bring back. I understand it's like a saga thing, and like the saga's over right now, but we're gonna get it again. But the way they did it was definitely, like, oh yeah, like I like this. Like this is it's the crawl without. I don't know. It's really good. Yeah.
It's great. And this movie does one thing really cool visually that I never thought about. It gets brighter. Like you start off and you have this moment where they're isn't that weird? You go into this obviously underground area, Scrum Rat, all the kids are like fighting over stuff, and
really hard to watch in the daytime with your TV uncalibrated, which is the best mode, and with the windows open because you don't want to like be depressed for the rest of the day,
but still it's so dark. Beautiful. Like even watching it with like the lamps on in the bedroom, like they're like I have smart lamps and they're like dimmed to like 5%, and I'm still like I can't see anything. Right. It's just like one of those movies.
Well, and like I don't know, the people who really don't like how blue Force Awakens and especially Rise of Skywalker are, they probably are like having a conniption during that scene. Like, no, I'm just kidding. We love you. Please don't. I'm joking. We got to make fun of each other, right? Of course, I was just saying that the Pikes' heads were too small. I mean, come on. Well, nerd.
Well, it's weird because this movie, and I don't know if it's because it's Ron Howard and he was like doing this back at the time, but like 80s films have a very specific look and aesthetic. And this movie, to me, really achieves like 80s sci-fi. You know, it has kind of a weird like Blade Runner color palette. It's weird, like at least for these sequences or any dark sequences, it really does.
Right.
And like also I'm really weird because the way they do hair and like the way the kids look in Star Wars movies, especially during this sequence, felt like an 80s movie because they like child actors for some reason always remind me of Goonies and 80s movies or like teen actors, you know, especially with like the circumstance. And how the way Han and Qira look, they look like they're in the 80s. It's weird.
Right.
It's weird.
Well,
but I really
it feels,
what do you want to say? Come on.
Well, I love what you're saying about that because like filmmaking is kind of going back to that 80s kind of model of we're not gonna like they kind of in the 90s were like, wow, we really put some kids in some dangerous situations back in the 80s, like in movies. Maybe we shouldn't do that because like, I don't know, the 90s was like, you know, oh, kids are gonna interact with whatever they see on TV and all that. But then like Stranger Things now, I think kind of blew the doors open. And so now everyone's like, oh, we can portray these situations again. And yeah, I never really thought about that. There's not much child acting in it, but it is like, it's very Dickensian too, which is a big word that I, you know, learned maybe last year. You know, I'm smart. But you know, basically like very Oliver Twist, right? You know, where like it's all these kids who are thieves, like working for this this guy who is like, you know, I'm like your dad, I'm like your caretaker, but I'm putting you in danger. You're like making money for me. But it's, I don't know, it like Han being involved in the crime syndicate kind of thing without, it's not like more of a gang and stuff. Just it was so Han Solo, that whole opening sequence from him boosting the car, which again goes back to George's roots, which is great, to the whole like, dude, you're right. It felt so 80s with like the romance between him and Qira.
Well, I was gonna say that next.
It was it's very indie. It's very Indiana Jones, honestly.
Well, it is, dude. That's a good point. Oh, I'm so glad
this movie, like seriously, this movie feels like an Indiana Jones. Like we're after this certain thing, and we got to watch out for the space Nazis, and you know, I don't know. Like the scene, we're gonna get to it again, but that scene in the coat on the cape closet on the Falcon, is so Indy and Marion. Like it's Indy and Marion, and it's it is the music is even like John Williams writing for Raiders of the Lost Ark, man. Like that love theme that's an underrated love theme, man. It is.
I was gonna say beautiful that because the love story is an aspect of it because it's part of Han's roots. And
absolutely.
Like, I've always been a sucker for like two teens escaping. Like I love Romeo and Juliet. And like it's kind of cool. And there's one other thing, Jerry, that you'll like because it also makes it feel 80s. Is actually there's two things you'll like. Hold on, let's get the people's reaction when I say this.
Okay.
Because I don't know if Jerry thought about this. The return of subtitles in Star Wars that had not been seen for a while. It spits and cries. No, but the last time we got subtitles in Star Wars was either the prequels or Return of the Jedi. I think. No.
Force Awakens.
When?
With the Resistance, the little droid talking to the Resistance. It was like,
you're right.
I am right, because I'm the canon junkie, son. I got to back away from this probably whenever I do that. I'm the canon junkie, son.
You sounded good.
Sorry, Ro. Sorry about your ears. Sorry, Rick and guys, whoever's listening to us still. I don't know.
Pete.
Pete. Sorry, Pete.
I guess to me, it was like that classic subtitles, like an alien that speaks.
You know what it is?
This one line. He's like holding the gun at Han.
Yeah. You know what it is that it felt like Return of the Jedi, and it felt like Han Solo, who is this?
Yeah.
It's like, I know you don't really care for the scene in the special editions in A New Hope when he's like talking to Jabba, but that's how he talk. It's like, here's this tough guy dude, like space cowboy.
You're right.
Space pirate who's like, hey man, you know, I got the swagger and I'm talking to this giant worm like it's just a person, you know? He's like, hey, let me explain, all right? That's so Han Solo. That's why I don't get why people are like, he doesn't feel like Han. Like, I don't agree. I feel like he really channeled like that's Han Solo, like the big weird monster that like doesn't phase him at all, which I know they live in Star Wars, but it's like that whole Han Solo thing where he's like, Jabba, listen, you're throwing away a fortune here. It's like, Jabba, you're a wonderful human being. I know you hate that line, but to me that is so Han Solo. That is so Han Solo. That's so intrinsic in his DNA, where he's like, dude, we're just talking. All right, let me talk. This is how we do business. All right, I'm gonna do business with you, giant worm. Okay, cool, yeah.
But that's the cool part, because that part does parallel a sequence in Return of the Jedi with the detonator, because
right.
Bush obviously has the detonator, but this one is like, it's cool to think that Han went and told Leia that story,
right?
And it was a great stalling moment and a great moment to like grab people's attention and be like kind of threatened by you,
right?
And that part really does it well in the classic. That's just a rock.
You made a clicking sound with your mouth.
With your mouth.
Can I say too? I love Lady Proxima. I don't have the whole. You should make every single alien never speak any basic. Don't give them weird voices and speak English, because we want every alien to have like a weird language and stuff. I kind of like that I love the fact that you've got the little worm guy who speaks whatever, like Huttese or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the big worm comes out and you're like, whoa. And then she's like, all right, what happened? That is so George Lucas. It's not even funny. You're talking about a giant worm that, all right. It's like what's the name from,
I don't know. Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. Yeah. Roz or whatever. All right. Wazowski. I will say about the thermal detonator thing. You remember like the outcry of, how that almost takes something away from Leia or something? Do you remember that?
No, I don't. Nah, I don't remember that.
Well, and again, not to get negative or anything, I agree with that to a point, but the way I kind of look at it now, I kind of do like that Han was telling his exploits and like building it up, and Leia's like, that's really dumb, and that it was cool, it worked out for you, but I'm going to actually use a thermal detonator because I'm smarter than you and stuff and way better. But I feel like I had to bring that out because I understand that, there are some people who are like, whoa, what's going on? Like, don't take that away from Leia. That was Leia being smart or whatever. Like, it still is. I think it still is.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. Negativity.
Well, no, what I wanted to say was, because it kind of plays into your
feelings.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice
feelings.
connectivity, and you get it out.
Yeah, man.
Boy. The cool thing about this one though is, this is kind of what it makes it a little bit more 80s of an 80s movie, is the giant puppet. Like that was like really one of the first, besides the thalassirene, one of the first real, and that was like legitimately very big. And like you can watch the BTS footage, and there's like a huge puppet, like it's humongous.
I love it.
That part was amazing, and I love the Han line. I ran away with my life, and he's like, I think that counts.
That's something that's something to me.
That's important to me. Yeah, I love that line. And I just love how Han's just naturally angsty, and you can tell he was tired of being, told what to do.
Well,
and he escapes, and he had the opportunity. He had the coaxium, which is also very important in this movie. Coaxium, and Qira had the vial. Remember the silo, Qira?
We took you out of that horror. Gave you a home.
Why is it such a funny line? Remember the silo? Yeah. It's just so.
Which is apparently a horrifying place.
Yes. Canon-wise, apparently it is very horrifying. But yeah, so they escape, and like one of the best first cameos is Coronet, and if Troy played Star Wars Galaxies, I know people that love Star Wars Galaxies, that's like one of the hubs in the game is Coronet City.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was one of the coolest parts, was like, Coronet Spaceport, and it's got such a good Star Wars aspect because it's got the found family already a little bit. But it's got the dreamer, Luke dreaming and longing for the next thing. It's like a big theme in the first Star Wars, and obviously Anakin has that same longing, and it's cool to see that Han felt that same pain, and no matter what, he wanted to get back in touch with the one that he loved, and that's a big theme that'll come later. And so it kind of already has that found family aspect. And throughout this sequence. It's a great chase scene. Probably one of my favorite Star Wars chase scenes. I love the indoor speeder sequence. I think it's a great chase scene, and I love the Pisana, the newest one, chase sequence. But I think this is probably the contender. This one, and of course the Kessel Run, which we'll get into later.
It's not just a good Star Wars chase scene, Scotty. It's a great car chase.
Yeah. Yes,
like
and
legit.
Have you? I'm sure you have. Did you watch how they shot it? There's a whole 10-minute special on how they shot it. Yeah, like
there's actual. Look, those were actual cars, right?
Yes, those are vehicles. Yeah, those are literally vehicles with really good frames that were like hydraulic frames that would bend.
Even the Imperial bouncing. Police trooper or whatever, his speeder was like a motorcycle.
Dude,
too,
I
or
remember when those photos
or
leaked.
Something. Yeah, it's.
Do you remember when those photos leaked? How cool that was? I remember that freaking out because Han had the gloves on and everyone was panicking about that. Like, what? Those are the gloves.
Right.
But anyway, random. It's cool that we got that Imperial protocol droid, AP5 looking droid at that one part where he's like, wait, stop! You're going against
the protocol.
Boom! The protocol and the protocol when his head's on the ground.
The proper protocol. It's like he's in pieces and says protocol after. It's so that's that Star Wars humor that people don't want in Star Wars that's intrinsic to it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, take it up with George.
Totally. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I love the comment of I forget it was can you outrun him? And Han's like, I hope so. I think that's such a great line. It's like he's gonna get up to us. What is the exact line? Do you remember? But his response is like,
what was the line before? I'm sorry. What were you saying? What did you say?
As I'm saying, I don't remember. I don't know if you remembered it because it was such a good line. It's like, is he gonna get close to us, or is his vehicle fast?
Oh, I can't remember. I know what you're saying. It's like, can he catch us? It's like, maybe or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's
yeah. It's just great.
It's just he channeled to me. He didn't sound like Harrison, but he channeled the spirit of it's like the spirit of Han Solo, but it's a Han Solo who still has hopes and dreams, right? Like if that's another complaint, people are like, he's too optimistic and stuff. I'm like, because he's young and he's had this horrible past, but he's looking forward and stuff. Like I want to. Get my dice there. He's like, I've got to keep going forward and all that. I don't know, but anyway.
Well, it's cool because we've always thought, at least to me, in all the old video games, at least from what I've seen of Troy play as well, all of Corellia has always been kind of like Coruscant a little bit less city, a little bit on water, but less city. But they made it really industrial. And I know it was a shipyard planet, but they made it super industrial. And Baton Rouge has a ton of chemical plants that are very industrial, and it fit that aesthetic perfectly. I'm around that. I see it.
Right.
And it really fit it.
That's a Michigan thing too, man. Automotive industry and all that kind of stuff. And there's a factory not even a mile from my house that makes Heinz. It's a Heinz factory. Yeah. Makes pickles. Yeah. You're going to pinpoint where I live now, guys, who live in Michigan. So I guess come on over whenever the order ends. But no, dude, this movie, the whole feel of Corellia made me feel like when I would go to my job at a factory, I was working at those shipyards a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's it felt, after seeing that, it felt Star Wars to be where I was, which was kind of cool for a month or two, maybe a week. And then I was like, all right, I'm over it.
But wait, can I say something a little controversial here? All right.
Go ahead. We've been saying controversial things all night.
Never say anything controversial. But I really like John Powell's music more than Giacchino's.
That's controversial?
Oh, it is.
I thought that was I thought that was the norm. I like it more than I like John Powell's music for this. Now Giacchino is awesome, and he does a lot of really good scores. He does his Doctor Strange score in the
great.
MCU is amazing. Mm-hmm. so he is on his way. Like Giacchino does a lot of good scores. But
course.
John Powell's solo score, maybe it's because he plays he does a little bit of the greatest hits kind of thing, which is that always is going to get us, right?
Of course.
It's always going to it's going to touch our nerdy nerve. And
I don't know. I sit better. I love Rogue One, and I love the story, and I love what it's done for canon. I sit better. I like watching this movie more, I guess, because it's more of a hopeful movie. And, to me, the music is just catchy. I found myself humming this.
I definitely listened to this one longer than I did the Rogue One soundtrack after, which... I think we've talked about my issue with the modern soundtracks, how they never have the best parts of the music, which usually end up being the old themes used in a different way.
Of course.
I don't know. I love that kind of stuff, and I wish it was more readily available than just in the movie. But there's
this
something
one does it really well, though.
We were just talking, we were talking about the love theme for Han and Qira.
Yep.
That is a sleeper hit, man. I was
killer.
Today just the music in the credits, which I'm so upset again with my issue with the modern soundtracks that the credit music isn't on Rogue One or
Solo.
Or Solo. These are Star Wars movies. We want the credit
There's
music.
another one too.
We're obsessed. Okay, give it to us.
The slowed down Duel of Fates that we get in this movie.
That's not anywhere. And I'm like, why wouldn't you put that on there?
No.
Put that on MTV.
No, yes.
Even though they don't play music anymore and stuff and haven't since Phantom Menace came out. I'm going to knock my mic off with this thing.
No, I like it. It's kind of cool. But yeah, dude, I
that whole
agree.
little ba, ba, yeah. Oh, so good. But Han's theme, which was again written by John Williams, but the whole thing, John Powell uses it expertly through there,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, that was so blanket. I just got a text from my mother. No, sorry. It was yeah, of course. No, you I don't know. It's one of these movies you get so many hidden themes. We could talk about that right now because it'll come up later too. You get the asteroid escape scene, the asteroid field scene, from Empire Strikes Back. You get just so many classics. You even get the old Imperial March, dun 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 dun. You even get the happy Imperial March.
Well, see, Giacchino brought that back too a little
Yes.
bit. He kind of expanded on it too.
Yes,
I love that they were bringing that up because I never really, not that I knew what it was.
Yeah,
I fell in love with it in this new era.
Me too, because it
was just in A New Hope, and then it was
yes.
Imperial March is it's Back in Black, man.
Yes, it is.
It's that a more universally loved song maybe. Don't Stop Believing or something.
There we go.
It's big, everyone loves whatever song.
Sure. Everyone knows
I don't know, dude.
Everyone knows the Star Wars theme and Darth Vader's theme, and that's
right.
And probably the Force theme now because the sequel trilogy was hey, let's just play the hell out of this. But
if we're gonna talk about the music right now, do we want to wait until Vessel Run to talk about the track that goes along? There's two tracks.
We can.
You want to save that for then?
Yeah, let's do that. So
okay.
The next sequence is the checkpoint area, and probably one of the coolest and biggest sets I've seen in these movies is there's just a lot going on, a lot of luggage, a lot of people, and the stormtroopers
it's
that are
got
patrolling.
A lot going on, yeah.
It's pretty cool. I wonder what that was like before all this happened. And there's a great line that's
mentioned. It felt
so
real too. Corellia feels like a real place. It doesn't. It almost doesn't feel Star Wars because it feels so real.
Yeah, you're right. And
because it's so industrial and so it's here is what the tyranny of the Empire really looks like. This is why the Empire is such a they're such bad guys. Is because
that's a great point, Jerry.
They make people live in squalor. It's anyway.
That's a good point because that really doesn't get discussed often. This is a great representative of what Imperial takeover looks like in regards to Star Wars. A great line right here. Kira's Han's like, what's the worst that could happen to us? And Qira's literally like, sold to Crimson Dawn or the Hutt cartel. So the fact that at this point the canon timeline, which will get very interesting, Crimson Dawn is huge. You know, I wonder. I mean,
that's me, canon junkie.
I meant to do me, but no. Crimson Dawn at this point is humongous, and like for them to even be aware of it is super interesting because like. You know, Hutt cartel has been mentioned in Star Wars literally since like the Clone Wars, so they know that. But Crimson Dawn had its little bit of its dawning, and obviously the siege of Mandalore time area, you know. And
well, I was gonna say like, how much did that last season of Clone Wars add to Solo?
Oh my
God.
On
this watch through for you? Because I mean.
Look
you
at
have
my face.
that like Dryden is in the Siege of Mandalore, right?
So good.
Like the second episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like Maul in the arc that everyone loves with the Martez sisters.
The best arc.
Like he name drops Crimson Dawn there. Like he is leading Crimson Dawn then.
Yeah,
and they have that alliance with the Pikes and stuff. Like it's
crazy. I know. I can't wait to see what they do with it because it could get pretty wild. So I love the moment where. They're up there with the coaxium and they're trying to let her in, right? And let both of them in. And I wonder, do you think that Imperial lady would have let them in if they hadn't already got busted by Malik and the dogs and everything? What do you think?
I think because they caught Qira and she was like, I can't let, like she had taken the bride, right?
Obviously. Like
she took it. So like she was like, okay, I gotta make sure I don't like get taken in for this, you know. I think she was covering her own butt, man, for sure. She was just. I think she would have let. Qira
I think
go
she would have.
Honestly,
too.
I don't know. What do you think?
She kind of like looked around. And she was like, "Put it in there. Let's do it." You know.
She was gonna do it. She's like, "All right, cool, man. I can
make a lot of money off that."
If the novelization and like I don't know about all this, but she like even in the visual dictionary talks about how she hates her job there, man.
Well, it's funny.
Like it's just a job.
Well, the price for coaxium, I don't know if you noticed this, throughout the years has gone up in money. Think then is like how much, I think someone mentioned how much they can get for like we can buy a ship, we can get 5,000 credits for it, or like 10,000 credits, and then by the end of the movie, it's
we can
like,
get out of here.
Yeah, by the end of the movie, it's like you can get 20,000 credits for coaxium. So pretty cool that it also goes up in market how much they're using it at the Empire at least. And
everyone's favorite thing in Star Wars is like politics and market
and money,
and trade routes and taxation.
Yes. But Han, the part where they do get separated, Han panicking. Like, it gives me chills. It, like, makes me tear up because it's such a... He's like, Qira, and he's just shaking the thing, and she's like, go, And
do you know, that breaks my heart. The moment when he's going in there and he's trying to blend in and all, like, hell is breaking loose, like, the troops are starting to, like...
The music is great.
Detain people. The most heartbreaking part to me, and, like, the thing where, Star Wars starts to become almost political commentary sometimes, is that family that gets completely ripped apart.
Yep.
There's like a family and they take the parents separately away. Different troops take each parent away and the children, and they're screaming, and the mom, and I'm almost like, I teared up a lot this time.
Yeah.
Almost tear up every time. That breaks my heart, dude. Like seeing like the families ripped, again, talking about the tyranny of the Empire and all that. And Han is like right there, like he just got separated from the only person he cares about in the world right now, Mm-hmm. And it just, oh man.
Well, it leads to...
And then the whole like, go ahead.
The music in that part's great, and it's super tragic, and it's like huge, and it's one of those ones that I remember, and like I could say it sits with me still because it leads into a great sequence with like the happy moment after, because it goes to kind of it's like super super sad, then it goes to the happy Imperial March, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, besides Rebels, it's the first time we've actually seen Imperial propaganda. Because it's great, like the banners. The
first time in the films, like we really didn't see, I guess, propaganda.
There's
in Rebels, but
if you look,
that's the.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry, but and if you look at when they're showing it, they've got the banner and they've got another banner on top, and it's like these troopers that are like, cool and poetic and
right.
Yeah, and
It's
they show
and it's so. I don't know. I was gonna say just it's so because it's juxtaposed against that like tearing of families apart.
Yes.
And just detaining whoever is like the loss of like security and stuff like that. The like this is like what happens when you tighten your grip so much that you're like, to make sure that we get the person, we're going to just take everyone. Who could slightly be like the
interesting
an
social
offender.
commentary.
And it's like guilty until proven innocent.
Yep.
The opposite of what the opposite of the way it should be.
Sure.
I'm gonna get too
No, it's
like
okay.
into it
because
if we're not careful.
I mean, it's interesting what happens next because this next part is I love this. Besides the Imperial propaganda part, he's waiting in line, and that guy that looks. I thought it was a funny moment too. The guy that looked just like him gets taken away, but it leads to the part that everyone was like, "Oh, it's so stupid," which was I didn't think it was stupid, and I think it sits really well with me because it's so Star Wars. But Bob Iger initially was like, "Yeah, and Solo, you're gonna find out how he gets his name." And it was amazing because everyone's like, "They mean that." They mean that.
If Bob Iger hadn't made such a big deal about that, I'll tell you, on my first watch, I was like, really? Okay. I mean, I'll go with it.
Yeah.
But I like it better now. And honestly, Joseph Scrimshaw and Joseph and Ken Knapsack and Jennifer, they do like a great like breakdown of like Solo and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they do a great breakdown of anything you have problems with in a movie.
Yeah.
They always make me feel better about some stuff, But what it means to Han in that moment is very important and stuff. And the way that the guy like just Solo. It's another journey thing. I went on where I was like, oh, whoa, okay. I think it really was, though, that Bob Iger was like, you find out how he got his name. And it was literally like, you literally find out how he gets the name Solo.
It's amazing.
And it's exactly like what your mom it's like your mom came up with it, It was like, oh, well, maybe it's because he's all alone and he could name Solo. I'm Han Solo, Sorry.
No, it's great because it's true. And there's another thing that I think is an interesting Easter egg that's stated that no one really brings up. I think it's a callback to Return of the Jedi, but they call they give Han Solo the ID 83, which is 83 is when Return of the Jedi came out, and I forget that's a sleeper one that I'm
always
about.
terrible on watch throughs. People point out the numbers to me, and then I can go back and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm like terrible with. Like, oh, here was the date and stuff, the exact day. I remember like the year the movies come out and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't, which that was 83 is the thing, but.
Yes.
Dude, yeah. That's cool. Awesome, though. That's a cool Easter egg.
One of the best transitions, I think, in all of Star Wars. Like, it's so coy, and it's honestly not even coy. It's so upfront. It's like, we'll have you flying in no time. Then
I love it so much.
And he's like flying through the air. It's amazing.
I know it's the Imperial March, but that version of it is not on the soundtrack either, and it's like so good because like it hits so hard.
Yes, it does. That's the point.
I think it hits harder than it does in any of the other films.
Yep.
It's like ba 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 ba. I like that little like flourish in there. It's
sure.
Just, that man and all the chaos. That is like one of the. That's like the Saving Private Ryan moment of any Star Wars film.
Yes, it is.
You would think it would be in Rogue One. I think this was more Saving Private Ryan than Rogue One.
Oh, you're right. Like I completely agree.
I mean, just especially like the troopers for victory, and then like the commander gets blown right in front of Han. Like
it's amazing.
That's like the whole war is hell kind of like.
Yes.
Just. Dude, Minbon, that whole like air on Minbon and the mud and you feel disgusting. You feel like you need to take a shower after they leave too, like Han and Chewie later, Like,
dude,
I don't know.
Totally.
They did so good at that, like just really establishing that. It doesn't look like anything either. Like there's so much fog and it's just fog and mud. It's like, what is going on here? I don't know.
that's the thing. The movie does that really well because the transition originally, and I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you've seen the deleted scenes. It was supposed to be of Han crash landing a ship into the interior of a really weird Star Destroyer. I forget the name of it.
Right.
It's got like big satellite panels on it, but it was supposed to crash into that, and then that was
it was like his cadet days or whatever.
Yes, yeah. And that would have been cool, but I kind of like the way they did it this time because it was like kind of like a boom, explosion of stuff.
It's such a good transition, and it's like it's not like great. A wipe or anything. It's just like a boom. Here we are.
Yep.
Also, those cool walkers that are just like giant gun platforms and stuff are really cool that they have in there. You only see them for 2 seconds, but I don't know. Like you get I don't know, dude. The introduction of Beckett and all of them, where like Han looks up and sees what he wants to be, like that gunslinger guy.
One of my favorite lines. I'll say it. You want to live, Sparky? I love that line.
Oh,
dude. You want to live, Sparky? I have no idea what that even means. I just think it's
I love that whole interaction too. Like you're right. That's awesome, dude. God bless. God bless.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
I mean, that man. And Allison, when the first time, she didn't see it in theaters. She watched this whenever it came out on like Blu-ray. And so
nice.
I'm watching it at home with her, and she's like immediately like, I like that Beckett guy. I just like that character. It's just a fun character.
Oh, it's a great character.
Regardless of whatever. But like the whole air of, what was it? There's like the exchange between him and Han where he's like, the Major said to go that way and stuff. Go that way and die. As you're saying, he's like, that's exactly what happened to the Major. It's like, just every little like line is dripping with that like Lawrence Kasdan flair. You know what I mean?
It's
like
good. It's good.
It's good. You hear like Han picking up his like quips and stuff from these people too. Like, Rio in that scene says, luck's got nothing to do with it, Yep. I mean, cheesy, yes, but I love that kind of stuff. And Star Wars is full of that, man. Callbacks to lines. Like,
totally.
That's part of it, man. It's awesome. I don't know,
it's
that
the
whole
beauty
sequence.
Of it. And like, there was one great line where it's, I will say, the World War I look was sick. You don't see that in Star Wars. World War I.
The trench warfare.
Yeah, trench look, yeah. And then you get the Mud Trooper look is so sick with the gas mask. What? Oh, dude. Total tribute to that era.
The whole canon fact of it that was like clone armor, like surplus that they were wearing. It wasn't even like Imperial issue. It was Old Republic stuff. It was like Mud Troopers, the Mud Jumpers. They mentioned them in Clone Wars. Like they mentioned Minbon and the Mud Jumpers in like it's the episode where they first introduced like all of our favorite clones, like Fives and Echo and all them.
Yeah.
And the Rishu Moon. They're like listening to the radio. They're like, here's one going out to the Mud Jumpers on Minban.
Yes.
Yes. It's cool, dude. Like I love these. When you pick up on the references, it's awesome. But this is so good.
What you bring up a good point about Han gets his quips and stuff because this next line's super Han Solo. It's after the war and he's like kind of antagonizing Beckett a little bit, trying to like get like understand him. And we have the part where they kind of line up to receive their next orders and he goes, "Great, more mud." And we're here to take down the hostiles, like that Imperial. And he goes, Han literally goes, "It's their planet. We're the hostiles." And I'm like, that's his character. That is
Han
him.
is not a stormtrooper, man. They want that's why he's there, because it's the crappiest of all the stormtrooper jobs right now. Han Solo is not a drone. They want just like waves of endless, mindless drones they can just pull. That's why you can easily kill stormtroopers. It's like zombies. It's like they try to overwhelm you with just vast numbers and firepower. And Han's like, no, dude, I ain't gonna do that. I can think for myself. I don't want to do that.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
It's their
if you've
planet,
ever had like a big corporate job or like worked in a factory or something, it almost sometimes it's like, I don't want, like, I've felt that before. Like, I don't want it. More, like, I don't want to be a part of this. Like, whatever, you can.
No.
That's that spirit of Han Solo, right? Is just like, I'm meant for something more. I don't want to do this. I want to do my own thing, right? It's just so.
This is where Han Solo for me as a moviegoer Alden became Han Solo is when he has to go kind of get himself out of that situation.
Yeah.
Where he's talking to Beckett, he's talking about how he ran schemes on Corellia. That's when he became Solo, especially the smaller. He was like, "Oh, wouldn't want me to tell the commander, would you?"
Well, just the whole thing. He figures he knows. He's like, I know what you're doing. I know I'm not like. It's like that whole Han Solo thing where he's smart. He's street smart. He gets himself into jams and he like makes dumb decisions, but he's not an idiot. He's human. That's the most cool thing about Han Solo is he has the worst and best luck at the same exact time.
Totally.
Oh man, I love that. That's such a
great. And that's the thing, because the next part right here, and like I told you, we'd go on for a while about this, is when he meets Chewie immediately after this, and like. I will say this. I knew it was Chewie that was going to show up. I saw all the Funko Pops. That was very clear from day one that was going to be Chewie. But how scary did they make him? They made him freaky looking. He was like skinny and
when they first said the beast, like I remember when they first started, I was like, okay, Star Wars, some kind of cool beast or whatever, that'd be cool. And then I was like, wait. Like, immediately when they throw him in there what's going on, right? Like, I guess I didn't see the Funko Pop, but...
My dad didn't. My dad was like, "Oh, Chewie!" in the theater, and I never forget. When I saw my dad, he was like, "That's Chewbacca!" I'm like, yeah, it is, obviously, okay, whatever. He doesn't look at the Funko Pops like we do. We're like, let me see the hair follicle. But yeah, that's the thing. I knew it from a heartbeat.
It's like they're not consumed by it, so they're like, oh, Chewbacca's in this movie. Great. Chewie. I just thought it was Han Solo. Yeah. All right, cool. Where's Harrison Ford?
That's the thing. That's literally what it felt like. And that was a great sequence. And I love that. And I know, Jerry, you and I are suckers for sound effects. All the new Chewie noises. Every time Chewie made a noise, I was like, oh, this is new. This is different, They made it like a real scary one at first, right? Like the roar. Like it was like an actual roar or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I love it.
And then the fact that Han pulls his hair to like stop him,
like bites him and like spits out like hair and mud, and it's disgusting. And that whole sequence is great. Just the whole like how he like when he pins him down, and you have that homage to Han in the carbonite because he's like halfway in the mud.
Yep.
Great. That was a great. I didn't catch that the first couple of times, but so good.
That's a good one. I didn't think about that one.
What?
That's good. I never thought about that.
I think that was something that like after the movie had come out and stuff, John Kasdan was kind of John for a while was coming out like, here's all stuff that I really kind of thought to put in there.
I'm hoping we get that from Make Solo today because he gave us a good one last time. Remember the one with the hut? Oh my god!
I hope we get something good for sure. I mean,
we'll see.
Honestly,
we'll see.
Maybe they'll be like, all right, cool, we're doing a series. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah.
What if they've already announced it by now? We're recording this a week early, so basically.
Jerry's the great guesser, obviously.
What about like Han speaking Shriwook though?
I was gonna say, dude, that's a great moment. He's like,
it's like so bad, but so good at the same time.
And Chewie's like, what the hell?
Huh? Yeah. And I love that I don't think that all Wookiees speak like me friend, me make secret battle of pretend.
Yeah.
Me, you, secret battle of pretend, create, look, big stick. I don't think Wookiees speak like that. I think it's because Han is like, it's like, I know a little, okay? Like, it's so awesome. So good. Like, secret battle of pretend.
But
like, how is that not more quoted? I mean, it's because it's spoken in true.
Secret battle of pretend. It's so true. That is great. I didn't think how funny that was. That is a great little line. It's weird because, the only way...
It's like you're trying to get your point across.
Secret battle of pretend.
How do you understand me?
Yeah. That's the thing, though. That's a good point.
Big stick.
Yes, because obviously Chewie can understand basic, and that's very obvious. Like, it is. And it's cool to think that's how Han kind of was like, hey, like, stop. Like, let's help each other. If Han wouldn't have been able to do that, I really think Chewie would have ate him and killed him. Like, really.
Right.
Like, it was...
Well, it's like, I understand you and stuff. I know what you're saying. So it's like, oh, this guy actually will listen.
Yes.
I don't know. I think you're right, which is, that's another thing to get into. People did not like that they had Chewie possibly eating stormtroopers and stuff, but...
I mean, I would have probably. I mean, I don't know. You don't know the situation because
he's like down there, like in Last Jedi, like he's got like a stormtrooper on like a spit or something, and like there's a couple stormtroopers looking at him all sad, and he's like, "I'm still gonna eat you. I just don't like you guys."
Well, there's a great line too. Is when he slams Han to the pole, it's still funny. He like throws him, boom, and the Han spins into the mud. I love the Kashyyyki and Moof Milker comment because that's such a Han insult, Moof Milker. And Chewie's like, huh? And that's when he like really like breaks the pole,
rams him through the post.
It's amazing. You know, it's cool because after that, when Chewie throws Han out of there, that camaraderie was always there, and like that kind of like pulled at my heart for a second because like it was so cool to see them become friends in that moment. Like origin stories are great, but that was one of the ones that like really sat well with me. And Star Wars never doesn't sit well with me, but that was the one that was like, wow, they pulled that off. And that's that's a hard thing to pull off. And they did it.
It was instantly like, chemistry. When they figure it out, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll try to listen to you for a little bit so we can get out of this.
Yes.
But shout out to the two random the mud troopers on top, which I have a mud trooper Black Series back there that's replaced the Mando for right now, my carbonized Mando. I haven't opened it yet, but dude, I love the back and forth between them where they're like the line, like just shout out to that line real quick, to that back and forth with them, like cheering on him to like the Wookiee to eat him. And like, what was it? My favorite part is where they're like, I killed him too fast. Yeah, kill him slower. Next time. Or kill him slower.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's such a great.
Like betcha 10 credits he doesn't last another minute or whatever the line is. It's amazing.
It's like before, they say that it's funny before he even like the fight continues, but it's funny because they're like, oh, he's definitely killed him. It's when they threw him into the pole. But
it's so great,
man, so good.
Then it leads to another great sequence where obviously Chewie is so much stronger than Han, and Han is like getting pulled through the dirt. It's so awesome, and then
he just gets yanked.
Yes.
Like I'm surprised, like his leg had to come out of the hip or something.
Yes,
like dislocated.
It was great.
For sure.
And it leads to the next part where we actually see Rio for the first time in the ship, and Rio is so incredibly realistic looking. Is that a Wookiee? It's so incredibly realistic, and the fact that Johnny Fav's baby is the voice is just.
Let me tell you,
great.
You will never have a deeper sleep than curled up in a Wookiee's lap.
Love that
every line. I was so upset. I mean, spoiler alert. I was so upset that Rio wasn't in more than everyone got upset with like I think all the characters they introduced and then killed off immediately. So many in this movie. So many. Well, I guess maybe like 3 or 4. But isn't it like amazing how many characters we are introduced to in this movie, and then it's like this movie is like, oh, here's what this movie's going to be. Nope, just kidding. It's going to be this. Nope, just kidding. It's this now.
Yeah.
It happens several times, but maybe that's what makes it feel like a few, like an arc of the Clone Wars or something, you know?
Yeah,
like
you're right. It kind of does feel that way. Well, of course, after the escapement bond, we get to the conveyance sequences, and I think one of the best, it's so funny and so good and so unnecessary, but when Chewie and Han were in the shower together, so amazing. That is a modern day humor, but not as like marvelly, as some would say the TLJ kind of was. I didn't agree with that statement really, but it was so funny. And George probably would have. I'm sure George loved that when he saw it in theaters. Yeah. He did.
Oh, George loves just jokes. He's like, make it funny. Make sure that there's like there's like levity in there. But that also felt a little bit like a prediction of the future if we ever get to another celebration together, Scotty. Of probably it might end up happening, like if we got to hurry up and get to a panel or simply just hop in. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I'm down.
Obviously, we know which one of us will be Chewbacca. Just saying.
Yes. And I'll be Alden. I'm glad I'd be an Alden. And that kind of goes to the next part. because they arrive. I forget what's that planet name, Jerry? With the
Vandor.
I don't remember. Vandor. They get to Vandor, and Jonas. Is this like? It's so weird. As a Star Wars fan, we know that that's not Peter Mayhew. We do. We know that.
Yeah.
But not most people don't. And like, this is the movie that, of course, I love TLJ and The Force Awakens. This movie is like what solidified that he was the greatest choice for this character.
For sure.
And he is such a treasure. He deserves
worthy successor.
Work. If they need to see a Chewbacca series because he was so good as this character, they have to continue.
They need to get more stuff for Jonas to do for sure. Like Jonas Swatomo needs to continue to be Chewbacca. Like give that dude work, man. Like.
Oh, it's great.
Give him other jobs too, but he's so good at Chewbacca. I want to see
so
Chewbacca
good
again. Like,
and of course, that's a hard thing to pick up on and do, and he did it.
Well, like that interaction of him and Han on that little bridge thing. That ship is kind of like it's funny. They did a lot of like ships in this movie that were Imperial-esque, but like. Also different than anything we've ever seen, but having like that scaffolding on the bottom of that ship was kind of weird, but also
it was cool.
Kind of neat. You know, where it's like when they're flying in atmosphere, they're just hanging down there like it's like this is just the balcony. You know, like we have breakfast down here when we can breathe down here.
That's amazing.
But like that whole between them where he's like, "So what's your name?" He's finally learning his name, and the whole. Like I'm not gonna Chewbacca. I'm not gonna say that every time. You're gonna need a nickname.
Yeah.
Like just
that
whole just the way they both play that is so Harrison and Peter. It like for real. They just captured it. Go out. You gush about it because I'm done gushing.
Well, no,
go get away from me.
You've already kind of already explained what I wanted to say. It's just the fact that like Chewie's air drying too. That's the best part. Like Chewie's just done. He's like I'm covered in hair and he's looking beautiful. That's the best the Chewbacca suit has ever looked. It is like full like. Maybe it's Maybelline, like it's nice.
That's
like,
the L'Oreal commercial for sure. Or what is it? The herbal essences.
Herbal essence.
Yes. Do you remember those commercials when you were a kid? Yes. So back in the 90s, they had these commercials. I couldn't figure out why my mom was so uncomfortable and upset that they did those. She would be like, I can't believe they're doing stuff like that. And now I'm like, oh, it's because it's like a shampoo orgasm. Okay, I get you. Yeah. But like Chewie, like with the L'Oreal, like
deep cut.
Don't hate me because I'm
he looks great
flowing in the breeze.
He looked great, man.
Beautiful.
He did. And then they arrive on Vandor and they're plotting the conveying sequence, which is a cool moment. And there's a Bosk reference and there's a Zam sister reference as well. The two twins.
Oh,
at the,
dude, the camp sequence is great.
This is where I think is like another thematic thing. The father figure moments happen here, especially in particular to Beckett and Han, because Han's just met this dude, obviously has some sort of see something in him. He's kind of like attracted's a weird word. He kind of understands Beckett, and that's what Han wants to be, and he has that father figure moment because Beckett is also a dreamer. Do not get it twisted. Beckett is also a dreamer as much as Han is, because the whole time he's like, we'll go back to whatever and play the Valacord. Like that's like it's mentioned 4 times in this movie. It's mentioned a lot.
Beckett,
Well,
and I love that the Valacord was like something I think that was introduced in Aftermath.
Yes,
like in the first Aftermath book. That's like something that Tim and Snap Wexley knew how to play, like his father played, like
and he was
that was a great reference.
Like,
and they said we're gonna go to what was the planet?
You'll remember it. I know you will.
Oh man, it's the planet that
Gliamson or whatever.
Gliansum. That's where Kit Fisto is from. Like that's his people's world. It's like an ocean world, like kind of tropical. Yeah. So that's why they were like, we're gonna go to a tropical world and like I'm gonna play the Valacord, and it's it's like it's a trope in these kind of movies, right? Where it's like, one more job, then we're out, Well, this movie plays on tropes so well.
Yeah,
it's just
that's the thing. The next line after that's tell us your sob story, Flyboy. And Flyboy is another one. Flyboy is nice. Mm-hmm. It's a really cool reference. And then even Rio's like, tell us about the girl Han. Does she have sharp teeth?
Oh, I love
that.
She has sharp teeth.
Does she have sharp teeth? It's just
Man.
so great. And
Rio's such an underrated
Beckett,
character.
Val has this line, and I think it's one of those ones that like really hits you because you're watching it, and we know that Beckett's kind of a scoundrel. He's got that feel to it, but everybody needs somebody, even a broken down old crook like this one, is what Val says to Beckett. And you're like, because we know that's Qira for Han. We know that in that moment, but it's kind of cool to think about where it does go with Leia, and opposites attract with Leia and Han. Whereas at Qira and Han, it's we need each other, we have each other. And love is a big thing in Star Wars because Leia and Han fell in love, whereas Qira and Han probably did too, but it was because of their circumstances. It's interesting,
right?
Because I could talk about love in Star Wars for a long time, but yeah, that's one of those interesting lines because Chewie's is also super to his character,
Oh,
Chewie's like, well, what about you, Chewbacca? And he's like, we're talking, and Han's like, wow, he wants to free his people, or his family.
I don't know if he said tribe or family, and
tribe
what's
or family.
The difference?
That's it. And I don't know if he said tribe or family, and then Beckett's like, well, what's the difference? And I'm like,
the way he says it is cool too. It's like, what's the difference? Like, this is something that I've learned. It's like, hey, you're
found family.
Your family is whoever you're with, man. That's your family. It doesn't matter what your blood relatives are. It's a theme in Rise of Skywalker too. Doesn't matter who your blood relatives are, man. I don't know. It's that whole, because Beckett is 100%. He is what Han Solo wants to be, but he's 100% what Han could have been if Han doesn't have that or made the choices the wrong choices, made the choice not to go back and help Luke, or made the choice to I don't know, sell out the rebellion, or you know what I mean? It's almost like Beckett's not without honor, but he's been in the life for so long. You can see if Han had stayed in it as long, because he's younger than I think Beckett, right? When A New Hope rolls around.
Oh yeah.
And so
totally younger.
Can you imagine Han down the line? I mean, he's can you just imagine him down the line? That's what he would have become had he not gotten involved with them, and had he not been, I don't know, I think he had something that Beckett didn't, He's got that, he was still a dreamer. He's still like that, I'm a good person and I'm always going to be that, even though I really want to make a choice. But I don't know.
Yes. And Beckett acts on the bad choice.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Beckett's really only out for himself, whereas Han, especially when he meets Infus Nest later, it's like, oh, we know who you're about.
Well, can you almost imagine, too, if he had lost Leia?
Yeah.
You almost, I don't know, it's like, I just see so much of Han could have gone down the same exact path as Beckett.
Sure.
Maybe he doesn't because of meeting Beckett and stuff, He obviously still cares about the man. The man cared about him. He was just so into it. He was like, I got to get out of here. You took everything away from me. I don't know, man. We're jumping, but it's all right there in that scene.
The next line after this is big because, he gets past the DL-44, which is also a weird thing of symbolism of kind of like passing the lightsaber, kind of like, it's almost like Luke getting Anakin's old saber.
Right.
It's kind of like this big moment that's really soft.
Yeah.
Really kind of not big for a casual viewer, and that's, of course, understandable. But Han gets it, he takes off the extension, he throws it in his lap, and that's the DL-44, and it's very obvious. That is the one he has in A New Hope, and obviously even into The Force Awakens. So, yeah, that's great. And I love the train heist. Oh, so Western.
The whole thing.
The conveyance.
Even to the point of you have the stormtroopers, the guards of the train, coming out of the caboose of the train on top to get the bandits and stuff. My grandpa watched a ton of Westerns back in the day, man. I mean, it's such a trope, man. It's such a trope. It was, they really hit that so well.
They did. And I love the line where they find the the coaxium. He's like, it'll blow us all to
Oh,
hell.
I love that. Where
just-
it's
it'll blow
that
us all
person with the
straight
dark
to hell.
humor
I love
and
it.
stuff for sure. It's like,
Yes.
you're like, oh,
Yeah, he's
it's
like,
enough to power a
"It'll blow
fleet.
straight to
It'll
hell."
blow us all straight to hell. Yeah, that was like the old crazy
hell.
prospector or something, you know, on the jet.
Yes, I was gonna say
Yeah.
it's like the crazy cowboy prospector, and there's one shot of Beckett after that happens where the trooper's already on there, and like the camera pans around Beckett, and he pulls up the thing, and they're blasting the thing, and that's a damn good shot
dude.
that people don't talk about. That's a killer shot.
There was like a
Where he
gif of
starts
that, I
out-
think, out before the movie came out, or it was like
Yeah,
right
because
before it
it
came
was
out
a
on
trailer,
Blu-ray.
yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. I think it was also in a trailer because I remember being like stunned by it. I was
It's a
like,
cool
"Whoa."
shot, dude. It's like, whoa, that's
Yeah,
a cool,
it's
because
cool.
the way the camera comes around him, it's
It's
just really
great.
cool.
It's awesome. And Jerry, we're gonna talk about this because this is one of those songs that like, oh my god, I listen to this song probably more than I've listened to. Ooh, this is gonna sound edgy.
Edgelord.
I love the sequel trilogy's music, but in terms of new and just different and like almost prequely, the Marauders Arriving music. Dude, what in the theater?
Yeah.
I was like, what is this children's choir like tribal heaven?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love
It's
it. Like that stands out so well.
it is so unique. It's like one of them. It stands out.
great.
It almost doesn't sound like Star Wars music, but does at the same time. It's like something he did something
Yep.
so different, yet
Oh yeah.
so fit
So
so
Star
well.
Wars.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's a hard balance to achieve of doing something new,
Oh my
not just
God.
copying John. But I don't know, like man, yeah, I think he really hit something special there.
That was crazy with the children, and then it shows up later, and it shows up like 2 more times. Dude, the swoop bikes, the look of
Right.
Infus Nest, the whole entire crew. Oh my god,
So good. And I
So
loved
sweet.
because I didn't read the like old Marvel comics back in the day, obviously, because I was born in 1987. But I love
Yeah.
that before it dropped, they had like this whole the bad guys are part of a gang called the Cloud Riders, and it's a reference to those old Marvel comics with one that was really dumb looking, like people on like scooters.
Yeah.
Basically look like mopeds, but just with no wheels.
I remember that.
It was like very
remember
Flash
that.
Gordon, you know. But
Hilarious.
yeah, just those crazy swoop bikes, and it's like, so
it's
did they have a
great.
ship that they got on, or did they like just go into hyperspace on a Harley or whatever? Like that can't be possible. But
I wonder. You never see their ship, not even when they're loading the coaxium. That's interesting. I would
they're
love to see
loading
that
it on
ship.
their
That was
bikes, and
sick.
it's like, how do they get where they're going
Yeah, you're
through
right.
space? Like, I don't want to know, and I also
Wow,
want to
good
know.
point.
I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, this next part, I don't know if I've ever told you this. At one point, even before the Chris and Phil, whatever, that whole announcement, that concept art of the transport ship leaked.
Oh, yeah.
okay? Not only did it leak, but it was being sold on eBay for $50. And I might have put a bid on it. Not gonna lie. I did. And it got taken down.
There goes your
But that
ILM
would've
job.
sold
I'm just
to
saying.
me
So-
Illegal Star Wars concept art. Oh, that'd have been great. But I did put a bid on it, and then it was taken down, I think, like the next day because it had like the trademarks.
Yeah.
It was legit. It was the I if I can find a screenshot for it of when it was posted, I
Yeah.
know I took screenshots of it. I will definitely
have
see if I
to.
can post it because it is crazy. Because that stuff wasn't in the Art
Yeah.
of Solo book either. I think literally it was like burn this,
Right,
like get
right.
rid of this, because it was on Star Wars Leaks at the time, and yeah, it's pretty crazy, and it was of not the conveys, but it was of the transport ship and like the like you said, the scaffolding, the weird little bottom part. So yeah, it's
Dude.
interesting that actually leaked. Yeah, it's odd.
Darn leakers.
Anyway, yes, but it kind of leads to the next part, the part where Han has to climb that, And Rio dying is a pretty heavy moment.
Did not see it
brutal.
coming
And
like at all.
nah, really. No.
I don't know. And you think about it, you're like, well, you never saw him in the trailer outside of that sequence or whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
man, that's hard.
Well, Han watching him die is a huge moment for his character.
Well, yeah. That's the thing.
Like,
every
really,
single person that
yeah.
he comes into contact with in this, like, it's him getting into that life that he's always wanted and learning the cost and the price, which shapes the way, I think, shapes the decisions that he makes, right? He's like, I'm not going to be as out for myself as these other guys are because I actually believe in family and stuff like that, Like, I don't know.
Huge.
But yeah, he makes hard decisions and all that. But just the whole, man, I got bleary-eyed this time watching, what is it, the whole,
Me too.
What did he say? Val was right, because they were talking about, like, settling down and all that. And you don't even think about it, but then he brings it back up. He's like, I'm going to be okay. It's just a when you look and it's, like, gone all the way through his shoulder. It's rough.
It's awful, and it's like burning. We've never seen a blaster burn either.
That
like
graphic,
that
no,
canon, like in
it was
in I guess live action, like it was burning. You can like see a little bit of his flesh and organs burning through him. I never knew how a blaster would work, but I guess it like burns.
It burns, yeah, dude. It goes like right
and,
through
like,
you, maybe
if
you get the right shot, like.
And then it burns. Oh,
but
it's brutal.
The whole.
And, like, I don't know.
Go ahead.
About that. No, that was it. No, that was my last statement. I never thought about a blaster like really messing you up.
Well, just that line
bad.
though, like where he's like, I'm okay, and then Han going, or him looking at Han and going like, Val was right, kid. It's not good to die alone.
Don't die alone.
Ooh.
Ooh, it's heavy.
Then he just dies.
It's brutal.
The dude who was just talking about like barbecues on Ardinia and stuff. It's like a Minoc roast on Ardinia, which I know like there are people hate. I love that line.
He's a big personality.
But just this dude that's this creature so full of life and like has so much personality, and just the spark goes out of his eyes like that, and you're just like, holy crap. There's
heavy.
A price to this. There's
heavy.
a price. Yeah, that's such a pivotal moment for Han.
That's a good point. Well, because the next part is Val. The next part is Val, and just been a ride, babe. And you're like, no, and then blows it up.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was it was all brutal. It was all crazy brutal, and. Val's an amazing character, and I love that they even had the probe droids a little more pimped out.
Viper droids.
What'd they call them? They called them
Viper droids.
Viper droids. How cool is that? Oh, it's sick. It's badass. And they have the moment where they're hanging everything, and Infus Nest has got the other transport, and they're like trying to pull it, and call the explosion.
Yeah.
Is
Go watch like that where you say the Celebration Chicago thing we went to with Rob Treadrow. Yeah, go watch that.
Yes.
On like the Star Wars YouTube page or whatever.
They show the special effects.
So cool.
Oh, it's insane. But yeah, so the next sequence, to kind of speed through this a little bit more, I know we're taking a long time.
This ain't gonna take that long.
And, but well, the Crimson Dawn and Dryden Voss moments is kind of the next sequence. Beckett punching Han was amazing because there's the moment where after it happens, you don't understand what you're getting yourself into, kid. We were hired by Crimson Dawn, and Chewie's reaction's great.
Oh, great.
Like, well, shit.
What did you get me into?
My God,
right?
like, what do we do? Yes. And Han kind of doing the typical Han. He's like, we'll just get away. We'll run away from him, And he's like, you can't. There's an army that will come after you.
It's great. And I don't think that, I know people are like, oh, you don't give, everyone always gets upset when you have characters who have a relationship and then one of them dies, like close friends or like a lover or whatever. And they're like, why didn't you give them time to do a funeral and grieve and all that? And it's like, dude, this ain't Game of Thrones, all right? This isn't, we don't have like a season of stuff. This is a 2-hour movie, 2.5 hour movie. Like,
Yeah.
I think he dealt with it enough, and to me, it fit the character that he's grieving. We don't know how long it was long enough that he buried the bodies, right? And like,
Yep.
then I don't know, like, what do you want him to do? You want to like have
sad.
like 20 minutes of him just being sad and mopey? Like, you want him to go see a grief counselor? I mean,
no one wants
come
that.
on. Like, that's not how you make movies, man. Go read a book.
Well,
all right.
There's the next line that's amazing because Han deals with it his whole life pretty much up until Jabba dies, I guess. Is you have any idea how it is to live with a price on your head?
Yeah.
So good. Because Han gets himself into some trouble and he does. And it's great for his character. And I don't know, Beckett also does something really interesting for his character. He gives Han a choice. He's like, look, dude, you don't want this life. I mean, that's up to you to take this job. He doesn't even know you exist. Y'all can run away and find some place, and Dryden will not even know about you. And it's just brutal.
Like, gives him...
Oh.
So you can tell he, like, cares. He's
thing.
like, get away. Just go. I don't know. Man, Beckett is such a good character, man. Like, such a great character to put into Han's life, right? Like, in his history.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember when that was also leaked that Woody would be playing a like father figure role, and it was great. It was amazing, and the next part is cool because the next part is like this awesome landscape shot that's like super duper small. Like I remember seeing it and being like, what a weird choice, and I'll bring this up later too in this episode. There's a shot of like a wide shot, and like they are like they're so small on that one itty bitty screen for some reason at the very bottom of the screen. You just see this giant wide Western looking shot of them like talking and then walking off. And I remember being like, wow, that's the first Star Wars movie to do like crazy wides, which I'll get into later too. It's a great landscape shot. I remember seeing, like, I can remember seeing that in theaters. I can still see like the chairs around me. You know what I mean? Like I remember that. It's
beautiful.
Shot. Like it burnt into my mind. But that's great. And the next shot too is amazing. Dryden's ship. The first one we've ever seen like that. Huge, towering, cutting like a giant through the
blade
mountains and the clouds. Oh, it's super iconic. Yes, and I wanted to say, the music is super Bond.
The whole atmosphere is Bond. Like when they go in there.
There's an elevator.
Cool. It's like Western meets Indiana Jones meets adventure. I don't know. It's everything, man.
Yeah, good point. It is very Western. It's like you're about to step into the boss's room, together. And it's got a gangster feel to it. Like everything's light gold, and like Dryden's goons, they're all like black and like light gold. It's like the Super Bowl Saints. It's like the New Orleans Saints. It's like this black and gold figure. It's cool, and like I don't know. Han being in a moment of like high criminal society is interesting because we know Coruscant's high society, and that doesn't look very different, than high criminal society, which is kind of an interesting play.
Right.
And Kano Bite's the same situation, It's a little bit more sleazy in Dryden's ship, if you can't tell, with like the Imperial that's getting like loved on by one of those chicks, and I was like,
you get that little bat guy in like a tuxedo too. It's like very Meber Gascon.
Yes,
but
yes.
Yeah.
Good point, actually. Because, like, there's an Imperial there. There's, like, all kinds of weird walks of life. And it's kind of like the cantina scene, but not as much in your face. It's kind of nice for once.
No, like everyone wants to do their own cantina scene
every
in the
movie
new Star Wars, right? Which can annoy you, but I kind of dig it. I'm like, okay, show me what you got. Let's see these different... I love that kind of stuff. Give me more weirdos,
But this was... Well, it's weird because... Solo had like 4 cantina scenes, if you really think about it. With you got the moment, you got the moment where they're meeting Lando, you got the moment where they meet Infant's Nest crew, and then you got the moment at the very end. Like there's a lot of of cantina like weird space. I don't know. Even Kessel has that 5 scenes. So Chewie wanting to eat was hilarious. He was like drinking stuff. He like drank 2 cups of alcohol, and his foam was on his mouth. Oh, it was.
Dude, that was so great.
So good.
Where he's like, well, it's so funny, but it's also kind of like you're a little like, oh, he was trying. He wanted to be with his buddy, but his
buddy was like, don't talk to me.
So good.
It's great.
So good.
And then don't look at anyone in the eyes, and Han's like walking around like hands stuck in his pockets. It's so well acted.
Later, he's like, I can't keep my eyes down the whole time. I'm going to run into something.
Yes, and so good. And, we get to see Qira. And that's a cool moment. Where he's like, what, Chewie? And he turns around and he's shocked. And he hugs her really hard. Oh.
That's another very Indiana Jones moment.
Yes, Jerry.
Where, like,
good job.
He's like, listen. And he turns around and it's like immediately his face changes to like, Qira, like, and gives her a hug.
Yep.
And it's so good. It's so good.
Well, you get the femme fatale role, and she's beautiful. Her hair's like in a little bob, kinda, and she looks gorgeous, and she's like playing really coy. She's like, oh, Han. That's like the whole kind of aesthetic of that scene. And she even kind of...
It's like, he's so excited. He's like, I was going to come back. I'm working on coming to get you.
Yeah.
And stuff. And it's like, now you don't have to.
Yeah.
And just the whole, how did you get out?
Yeah.
I don't know if you were like about to touch on that or whatever, but like the whole...
It's a sad scene.
Dude, the delivery of the way that she, like, Emilia, like, the way she, like, kind of looks around and doesn't look at him when she says, I didn't. It's just tries to do it very as...
super coy.
It's not a big deal as she can, but at the same time, like, you can tell, like, there's pain there,
hurts.
man. There's like she's had to like kill and do bad things, like to get to where she is. I know a lot of people were like taking the lines of if you know what I had to do, you wouldn't probably look at me the same way to Han. I don't think it's like, I've had to do dirty sexual things and
I don't think it's
all that kind of stuff.
I think it's
like
murder.
People were like, that reads as like weird. I always read it as like she has had to do like
I bet
cutthroat bad things like murder, kill, all that kind, like she's had to make bad choices to survive.
And obviously Dryden's like, you wouldn't know what she's done. You wouldn't even want to know what she's done. Or like whatever the line is later. I love that Qira was thinking of Han.
Why he trusts her so much.
Oh, say it again?
Yeah. Well, it's why he trusts her so much,
Yep.
That's why he's so like hurt at the end, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And like one of the coolest parts is when Dryden like pulls his blade out of that dude. Where's Dryden or whatever the line is, Dryden's busy talking.
Got one of those like half-headed, decraniated people.
Yeah,
and stuff
he's like
he's like talking to her.
Yes, he's like Dryden's busy talking to the prime minister of whatever, and then he pulls his blade out of her, and his face is red. Which I want to get to that parallel later. There's a cool parallel there. I love that Dryden from across the room is like Tobias, and I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
It's so weird too because he's like, I heard about Val and Rio. I'm so sorry. Who's your friends? I was like, ooh. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
And it hurts. I feel bad. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He's like, I'm so sorry about Val and Rio. Who's your friend?
It's a businessman, right? He's a businessman.
Could care less. And I love the line that haunts the Chewie. You're touchy. He was like, you're...
Right. You're touchy.
You're touchy.
Yeah.
This is interesting. I don't know if anyone's pointed this out yet. Here's the scoop, kids. Here's the cool moment. What do you call hot take?
Pull in.
Hot take. Here we go. Never thought about it. Watching it this one time, Dryden's face when he gets angry, obviously it goes red. Kind of, in a weird way, parallels Maul. Just the fact that his face is also red. And you can even see it in Clone Wars, that the most recent the Phantom Apprentice. His face is red too in that moment too when he's holding his chin, kind of like he does in Solo. But I really do think that's a visual parallel to Maul. Well, what do you think, Jerry?
I never really thought about it like that, but yeah, it is. And whenever I think we first started seeing like him in trailers and stuff like that, I think we were like, oh, he has like scarring or something, right?
Yeah, that's what we
like
thought.
some kind of
yeah.
like he's
But
been
it's
through
not.
it too, you know, like
Yeah.
but he 100%, man. I don't know, that's an interesting parallel. I never really thought about that
Because
and stuff.
it's weird because Maul's got the Sith eyes, you know, and he's always had the Sith eyes just because I guess he's always been angry.
Right.
But when Dryden gets angry, like his eyes themselves, like the actual white around his eyes get super
Bloodshot.
red, and it's then like those lines in his face are like extremely red, and like I almost think it's like a parallel to Maul in its own way. Maybe I don't know. I
I
think
could see
that's
a
really
little
the
bit of
case.
that, maybe like a
You know?
like a
And
here it's kind of like
You know-
this guy's just as dangerous and like a
Yes.
blunt, not as much of a blunt instrument as
Crazy.
Maul, which Maul isn't at this point. He's
No.
like in charge, right?
Oh, master planner.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like Palpatine of his own little
Yeah.
regime. And do you remember Dryden was supposed to be like that lion creature originally? That was like how he was written.
Right.
And I forget the actor that was supposed to play him, but there was a really
Oh
well-known,
yeah,
actor from a
I can't
TV
remember his
show
name, but he was like
that
from The Wire and stuff. He's a
he
very
was-
like popular character actor and stuff.
Yeah. And he was supposed to be like in a mocap suit playing this role, which would have been interesting, but I almost like that they went with a human with like a
Well, and he wasn't.
Kinda
He
like a
actually.
singer.
That's the funny thing is he actually wasn't human. He was near human, because that's why
was
he.
it.
And I think what is it, Matt Martin? I think he said that he's the same species as like the bad guy in the Freemaker Adventures, like that Nare
yeah.
or whatever, where she has like the
Yeah.
skin stuff. That's that same kind
Yeah.
of alien.
So interesting.
It's not a human, but they're close enough.
Yeah.
They just have the weird like skin stuff going on, which is
totally.
it's kind of neat. Like that's always been a Star Wars thing, right? That's been an expanded universe
Totally.
thing. You know,
Yeah. Which is great because that's where this next thing comes in because you've been bringing it up a lot, Indiana Jones. There's a huge Indiana Jones reference in this, and it's the talisman. I forget the name of it. The Alex Damon.
Oh,
knows
the
it, 'cause he's
Staff
been
of
asking
Ra?
about it. No. The actual little head. The little head guy that he takes from the first Indiana Jones.
Oh,
So
that
there's
little
Star.
that little idol. I don't know if that has like a name.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
forget
know.
the name. The fertility idol. That's it. The fertility
Oh,
idol.
yeah.
And he takes that. And he doesn't take that. I mean, he takes it in Indiana Jones, but you see it in the background under this big giant
Right.
blue skull, which is also a really big homage to one of the Solo books.
Yeah,
hey, do
it's
yourself a favor.
like the Solo or Han Solo books and the
Lando
Lando
Adventures.
books. Both of there's big references in
So-
all of those, man.
Oh, if you haven't yet, go check out Star Wars Explains, like canon breakdowns of that. They're amazing Easter eggs. There's also a really subtle one where I think they're talking about coaxium, and one of them mentions Scarif, and I'm like, oh,
Scarif, Mercy
forgot about
Island,
that one.
yeah.
Mercy,
Where, like
yes,
Qira,
yes.
Kira's talking about where else you could get coaxium or something.
Yeah,
Because they're like
refined
trying to save
coaxium.
their
Yep.
skins, right?
Oh, it's great, and yeah, that's the thing. And there's a line where he says Crimson Dawn has a fragile relationship with the Pikes, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense
Mm-hmm.
because if one syndicate goes after another, then it all falls.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you can obviously see that in the Siege of Mandalore. They do have a relationship. I don't know how good it is, but like the Pikes being
Even
talking
before
to
that with
Maul.
like the Martez sisters arc, like
Oh, yeah.
they're big in
Yeah.
that. There's 3 of the whole episodes are all with like the Pikes
Yep.
and stuff.
Pikes, awesome. I love this line from Dryden where he talks about Han and goes, he is arrogant and he is hungry. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
He is. He's both those things. And I love the ending of this sequence because Dryden is like putting all this on Qira,
Yeah.
which is interesting. He's like, if you don't make it back, it's a great shot. He goes, what's
We'll
the
be out of
line, Jerry?
options.
It's
He says it's so like, and then like
out of
it's a
options.
shot of all of them, and it's so awkward. It's almost like The Office, where
Yes.
it's like we'll be out of options. It's like basically like I have to kill you, and they're like
yeah. And then even
we
Kira's
won't.
like,
I think was Beckett goes, we won't. The way he says it is like we
Yeah.
won't. It's okay, like
Yeah.
oh, it's so awkward
Kira's
and
like-
funny.
Kira's shock. It's so great.
Yeah.
Then we have like one of the best introductions of a character possible.
Oh my gosh.
We knew we were gonna get it, but damn, was it good. They got droid battling. The coolest part about the Lando intro is the battle of two egos, two huge egos, and like Han doesn't even really have anything to back him up, and he's got this ridiculous ego.
He's just
and Lando is like just this super chill, cool.
I love
great.
the subtle
It's amazing.
like where he comes in and he's like messing with him. He's like, "So is this Sabak?" Like he's played it before. It's like,
oh, it's great.
Sabak. And like, and you see that's why, because everyone's always like, why does Lando in the original trilogy always call him Han and stuff?
Han,
and you see the genesis of that, where it's like maybe it was just a weird thing that Billy
It's
D
Han.
did. He was like, I was calling him Han. They called Leia, and Leah.
Yes.
You know, in a couple of the movies, but
Yeah.
I love that they made that into like that's something that Lando does to mess with Han. He's like, Han, you know, he's like, oh, you messed up.
Han.
Oh, okay. you're a smart guy. Han, here you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Donald Glover
it's great.
too, man. Like,
Oh, killed it.
he
Killed it.
exudes that Lando energy too, man. Like,
Oh,
that dude's
it's
so
amazing.
cool.
And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, there was like a huge fan casting a long time
Way
ago.
before,
This would be
man.
the best Lando.
Everyone.
Literally like in like 2013 or something crazy.
And I'm a big like
And it was-
community fan and stuff, and so like
Yeah,
he is not that. My wife was like, he's so nerdy on Community though. I'm like, yeah, but the person himself, the persona that he is, like his childish Gambino and all that stuff, is so Lando.
Great rap artist.
Like he's so cool.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah, he's so slick.
it's just he's a good actor. He can play whatever, you know, and I don't know. Good on
it's
him,
killer.
man. Like he is.
Well, that's the
a
thing.
treat.
Because the writing for this part is amazing, and you could tell it was written by a Kasdan. It's just like so well done,
Yeah.
so tight, gets so much across with very few words, and the fact that Han has, I guess, the ghost technically. He's like, "What's your ship?"
He has
Because
like
I
that
heard you like your ship
VCX or
it is.
whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, everyone's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
what? That's a nice ship." And I don't know, like. There's super iconic like aliens from that sequence now too, like Six Eyes. We saw
Reminds
that
me of
celebration. Were you there
Reese
for
and
that
stuff.
panel?
I wasn't in that one.
I
No,
remember. Oh, I was
But
that. That one was amazing.
I remember that was like one of the reveals whenever Lord and Miller were still working on the movie. Remember they
Yes,
had that like
yes.
behind the scenes. You like
Everyone thought it was CG. I
yeah.
remember
He
that.
like looks like it's
yeah. So
It was
great.
very Men in Black also a little bit,
yes,
but. I don't know. I feel like those things are like that's like a close relative of the Grand, which is Reese. and all that
yes,
stuff.
it is.
It feels like it.
Yeah. Well, what about Therm?
Therm Scissor
You get
Punch.
Therm.
And it's
You get the guy with the mask.
well, like just the big
breathing,
crab.
you
Yeah,
see the
the
steam.
like Therm Scissor Punch, the crab guy, like the little like mouse person that's like
The
congratulating
thing that's from
Han.
Fallen Order too.
Um,
Yeah, what's the one that's from Fallen Order? That was one of the ones that was in that movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
One of those creatures, the one that pilots the ship in Fallen Order. The weird looking rodent.
Oh
guy.
yeah, well he wasn't the same exact species, I don't think, but
Oh.
he looks.
I thought there was one in that scene. Maybe I'm wrong.
There might be, I don't know. But
that's
there's
the
a
beauty
lot
of
of
that
that
scene.
scene is so full of.
Yes.
That is like. That is the cantina scene that I think has come the closest to really, like, hitting the mark. I mean, Maz Kanata's castle is really
totally.
cool, but the one that got the closest to the original cantina scene was this one because it's like an Old West bar, man, where they're playing cards and stuff, and there's like it's
it's
also
great.
almost a little like here's like a dive bar in the middle of like Alberta, Canada, or whatever,
Yes.
like on X-Men. It reminds me
Yes.
of that bar that Rogue goes to in the first X-Men movie. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, where
Yes.
Wolverine's cage
I
fighting
do.
and stuff. Because you got the droid
Yeah.
fights going on over here, and then I don't know, it's amazing. And
It's great. And
So good.
the fact that Lando cheats is so characteristic of him.
Right.
Like you can tell, like Empire Strikes Back, they like pulled a little bit more out of that character.
Right.
Like this would be the guy that would betray you, but he'd also be the guy that would cheat in a card game. You know, it's
and the
great.
whole where he gets
And
his
I love that.
I just love that little part too with he gets his drink refilled by the droid and calls it love.
Yeah.
Thanks, love. So good.
love.
Yeah. It doesn't even
So
look.
good.
He's just holding his glass out.
Uh-uh.
Man.
Well, it the next line is, that guy's so full of bantha crap. I love that he said bantha crap. It's so great. Bantha crap.
That made me feel better about so many like parts of canon novels that like use the word crap. Up until that point, I was like, and I was like, all right. You popped my cherry
Han
in the movie,
it.
so I guess we're good.
Well, another great canon moment. Beckett killing Aura Singh. What? That was sick.
That was a great drop and stuff where he's like, you're Tobias
out.
Beckett.
Like,
you killed Aura Singh. I was like, wait, what? Like, that was one of the moments that stuck out to me the most.
Singh's
That
dead.
and like Maul at the end. Like, I remember that was one of the things that stuck with me when I went out there. Like, wow, Beckett killed Aura Singh.
Aura Singh, yeah.
Crazy, man.
So
crazy.
subtle. No one else would have been freaking out except for huge Star Wars fans. That was like so solid. Another one is really cool is I think Lando is like, hey, we're all good after I did that Felucia thing for him. And I'm like, oh, Felucia.
Yeah, that was good.
How cool
that was like
that?
a bunch of little like cannon drops right there just sprinkled in.
Sure.
Like,
oh, I love
good.
it. I love it. But no, that's the thing. I really liked that L3 after this is kind of her own character.
Yeah.
You know, we get that amazing moment where L3, you kind of get her. You get her motives immediately. You understand that she's all about droid rights, and that's an interesting topic. Hey, Bombad fans, stay tuned. More than likely, the next couple of weeks, that's going to be one of the discussions is droid sentience, because this character's super aware, and we get an amazing Clint Howard cameo. Love Clint Howard. I forget how much he's in. If you look up his IMDb, he's in like everything from Sandler movies to these movies to like this crazy amount of movies. And I don't know.
I honestly didn't really know anything about his cameos until this movie. And so then I was like,
yes,
I'm sure he's been in a lot of stuff that I've seen now, you know, like, oh, okay.
Dude, I was watching, what Adam Sandler film was it? Forget what I was watching recently, but he showed up there and I'm like, what?
Right.
Clint Howard, like it surprised me. But yeah, no, you kind of get to see a cool moment with Clint Howard and him's like, what's the exact line, Jerry? It's a
he's never had it any better or whatever. He's never had it so good or whatever. Yeah.
And I'm gonna
Speaking of Old West
Prospector
Prospector guy, like that, he exuded
good luck
that.
finding it.
Such prospector energy in that guy.
Well, it kind of makes it's kind of like the same people that do chicken fighting and the same people that do dog fighting. They're just like, you know, they're doing it. They don't realize they're doing it, and it's so terrible that they get to do it. And like, I love that. You know, Lando's explaining L3 to Han. It's like, oh, she has the best damn navigational system in the whole galaxy. I'm like, oh,
I love all of that, man.
It's cool.
That whole, and that's where they drop Black Spire Outpost and stuff. Like that walk on that little that little like catwalk thing.
It's cool.
Is so like it's so beautiful. You kind of see like whatever city in the back, like dwellings or whatever, lights in the background.
Yeah,
it's such a cool like it's almost like a snow covered indoor a little bit, like mountains and trees.
Good point.
Just that walkway.
I hadn't thought about that.
It felt Pirates of the Caribbean too. Very Pirates of the Caribbean.
It does. Yes, dude. Jerry, that's a good point. I had not thought about
this
that.
whole thing. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean meets Indiana Jones meets Star Wars meets James Bond. It's take a little bit of everything, put it in a blender, shake it up. It's Star Wars, you know. But I mean, this movie had so much. It's classic adventure movie, right?
Yeah, it's amazing, and you get to see the Falcon for the first time from the eyes of Han.
Oh, dude.
And that chokes me up. There's a things in this movie that make me kind of emotional. This one really chokes me up, like for real.
And like how he's saying the same thing as like Luke. And he walks around the corner and it's like, what a hunk of junk. But he's like, before he gets there, he's like, it's probably gonna be some piece of junk, right? It's
yes,
dude.
Oh, it's amazing.
And then him and Chewie, like that, like that. That is a beautiful rendition of that theme, of the Star Wars theme. But him and Chewie under the cockpit looking up at it, beautiful shot.
Yeah,
like that's where they're going to spend. They're going to have a lot of like amazing moments together in that cockpit, and
it's so
take that
awesome.
as you will, I guess. So,
I don't know what happened. My AirPod flipped from this year to this. That's so weird. It's like we took.
It was really cool. I wish like we would have caught that
I
on camera because it was a neat thing to see happen. But
yeah, I know. I don't know. The StreamYard feed like cut out for a second for everyone. That's so.
It's almost like when we talk for hours and hours
about
about Star Wars, we need to stop and go like relieve ourselves sometimes. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know.
You've done that before? I never done that. Okay, anyway, back to the business. What are you talking about? Okay. Sorry.
Time to refill.
I love the moment where Han walks in, he's looking at the cockpit, and he's having his moment, and he goes, my dad built these, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of heavy, you know, and we never heard about Han's. We've never heard about anyone's parents in regards to these characters, and even we hear about Lando's mom.
Yeah.
Know? Great woman.
It's like my mom was great. Yeah, never knew never cared for my old man or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Daddy
then,
issues.
I don't know. L3 is interesting because when she hooks the ship, you hear like a ding, a small startup sound.
You hear it's the sound
has.
Like whenever they're like putting something in the Navicomputer, right?
It's exactly what it is.
It's
exactly what it is. It's amazing. It's so cool. It's so cool.
And it's intentional. It's 100% intentional, baby.
And you know, one thing I will say, I believe this is the first Star Wars movie to use the LED screens that we see in the Mando. With like the way they shot the actual not trench run. They shot the Castle Run part. They said they shot all that with the screens and
they got
the
the visual effects done ahead of time, so they were reacting to the visual effects themselves.
Yes,
and that whole
cool.
Going to hyperspace, that was so cool. Where like they actually were able to get remember they were talking about that at Celebration, how because they did that, they were able to get like Han's first moment going into hyperspace on the Falcon.
Yes.
Like you can see hyperspace in his eyes, which is
yes. Oh. Never could see that before.
Oh.
And you could see it in his eyes, you could see it like on his skin a little bit. It's killer. And I love that. This is really interesting, by the way. Chewie has always played Djarik. You know, he's always played it. Every time we see him playing it, he's always winning, but you've never seen him win before.
Right.
And we see Chewie losing for the first time, and then we got The Rise of Skywalker out now, and you see him like against him and Poe.
Right.
And Poe and Finn. He's like, how does he always win? He must cheat. You know, it's great. I don't know. I love that.
It was a great little line. He tries to wipe the pieces off the board and all of that. So.
Oh, it's amazing. What does Beckett say? He's
like you can't wipe them off the board. They're holograms or something. It's like, I know Chewie knew they were holograms. I'm sure. It's just like, dude, he was losing his temper. You let the Wookiee win, otherwise you get your arms pulled out of your sockets. So
yes, that's so good.
The nature of it.
That those lines have so much more credence now. I love that. It kind of leads. Of course, you have that moment. You know, trust no one. That's another good moment, and it leads to the coat scene. And people might not know this. Hopefully, you're listening to this. But George actually directed that one sequence where Han, you know, he like wrote that in on set where Han has the coat and he puts it behind him. And then drops it, and then he doesn't even look. Puts it behind him and goes, and drops it into nothing.
Right.
That was George. That was George Lucas who orchestrated that moment. How cool is that?
I don't know. George is awesome. George. And that whole scene of them in the coat closet, which is so funny that the closet, somewhere we've never been on the Falcon, and of course Lando owns it.
Never seen that.
It's got capes. What is in there?
Yes. Oh, it's amazing.
Like during the original trilogy, like what is going on in that cape closet now? You know,
I would love to go to Disney and see if they have.
You probably
like
do not
there.
Want to know what's going on in there, honestly.
From yes, exactly.
Any of the books that I've read, you know, I mean, we see what it looks like before Han gets a hold of it.
Oh yeah,
and
it's amazing.
After, but
it's great.
That is so. We were talking about that love theme before and stuff, and how that's so Indiana Jones. That's so Raiders of the Lost Ark, Marion and Han. You know, like we shouldn't, but we really want to. You know, like kind of romance. You know, it's just.
Oh, it's great.
It's great. Well, on your notes there, man, that 40s style music.
I was going to say that. It feels like the 40s. It's like this weird love
classic.
Trope, Casablanca. Oh, it's
It
great.
does. You could put that in black and
great.
white. It would still it would play that like that.
They kiss.
Big and
then
sweeping,
Beckett
like
walks
sweeping
in.
romance.
Yeah, and what is the line that Beckett says, like bad time or something like that? Or I forgot what it was.
Something
it was,
is like bad timing or something. Like kinda.
Yeah. Oh, it's and they have that moment, and I love that they're looking at the Skiff Guard outfit, by the way, at that moment too. So weird, such good Easter eggs. They've had that in the Falcon. Is so
We didn't
sick.
even think
And he's
about
like, "Trust
that.
no one."
That's like, of course, that's
Yes.
there.
Yes. Oh, it's a great. The line that Beckett says, it's huge in this whole movie. Trust no one. Assume everyone will betray you, and you will never be disappointed. And
So
Han says, sounds like
sad.
a lonely way to live. Yes, sounds like a lonely way to live, and it kind of plays into the Han Solo name. And he says, Beckett says, it's the only way to live, and I'm like, oh, for you it is. For you,
That is a
Beckett,
man that
not
has been
for Han
hurt
Solo.
a lot in his life, man.
A lot.
That man has seen a
Too
lot of
many
heartache.
See, the cool thing about this whole sequence is a great transition sequence. This movie's plot is incredible. It's so fluent.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're watching this movie and you're not at no point when you're watching this, you're like, all right, next, the next. No, like literally it flows so well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's a great part where they show Kessel and they show like the cloud and the lights that we see in Clone Wars now.
The Acades Maelstrom. That's where that episode that I know
Yes.
you didn't care for at first, and a lot of people it's like,
it.
I was like, but that's like, it's like a mini Solo. Like we're going back to I love going back to the places. I'm that guy. I'm the sucker who's like, whoa, we've been there before. That's really cool. Someone else has been there. It's like,
amazing.
obviously other people
Yes.
have been there. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, it's great.
It's awesome because you saw Kessel and Rebels first. Like that was the
Yes.
first time we ever
Yes.
actually saw or were on Kessel. But to see it, we didn't see them go through that kind of stuff, and we didn't even see the clouds and stuff. It's like they went through on the.
No.
Could you go around to that side of Kessel? Maybe. Like
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
It's so interesting.
Canon. It's a
Matt
funny
Martin
thing.
tried
and
explaining it. It's a great moment where Matt Martin tried explaining it. I think TRB made a shirt of it.
Oh man, I don't even know if I know
was
what that
like-
shirt is. But yeah, it's so funny.
Well, this is a weird one. I want to hear your opinion because I wasn't going to try to stew too much on the small stuff, but what is the sex joke? I don't get it. The L3 Lando is like, oh, it works. And I'm like, I don't understand
Just-
that. Maybe you can explain that. I really don't get it. Like I really
Well,
don't.
Scotty.
Like I didn't think it was funny. And I didn't think it was clever. I was like, this is kind
You
of
see,
strange. But
as young men and young women grow up, their bodies start to change, and for young men, you start to get feelings in a certain bathing suit area. Anyway, sorry. No, okay, I'll stop that because that's gonna get horrible. I think the joke is just that like Qira is like she's talking about.
her face is
Like
this.
L3's like all there's like tension, there's like sexual tension between me and Lando and stuff.
Yeah.
And the joke
Really? That's
is
what she's-
that Qira, I think it's the whole joke is that Qira is like surprised, like, oh, really? And stuff. And like,
Yeah.
how does that work? Because you're a droid, you don't really have the proper equipment, so to speak, that we know of for it to go in there. Like, how does that work?
amazing.
And she goes, oh, it works. Implying it's
works.
happened,
I'm like-
which in canon now, whether you like it or not, and this is good for, I don't know, you gotta be careful. Like, everyone should be able to see themselves in Star Wars. And I
Yes.
remember the outcry whenever, they said that Lando is pansexual. We
pansexual,
basically have, which basically means, I don't know how this is different from the Lando we've always known. Lando will have sex
Kinda.
with literally anything. That's Lando Calrissian. Like that is like, how does
It
he
is.
not exude that in the? It's like
yeah.
it's like
Anyone,
that
binary,
doodle- that
non-binary,
doodle-
all of it. Yeah.
that dude will doodle anything that
Yes.
that he can doodle. And
Yes.
I don't know why I said doodle, but it is what it is. I'm trying to make this as PG-13 as possible. But that's the joke, is that it's supposed to make all of us go, oh, whoa, okay, whoa.
It's amazing.
And also make some of us feel uncomfortable and all that. But I don't know.
Yes.
And then, of course, we've got, now Billy D, didn't he come out as Pan as well, like himself?
I don't remember.
He came out as
I think
something like fluid, gender fluid. That's what he was saying. Which is interesting. It's like you can almost see, like, I don't know. To me, Billy D. Williams is Lando Calrissian,
Me too.
100%.
Me too.
I don't think he's almost not even acting, right?
Yes.
And we've always said, Scott, like, everyone should be able to see themselves in Star Wars and stuff like that.
It's important. Representation is important.
I don't know. We got to be careful because we're encroaching on different territory and stuff.
Sure.
I grew up very conservative Christian and stuff like that.
Me too.
And just over the recent years, I've started to get to know people, who were of whatever, like different gender fluid, like different things like that. And however you feel about whatever, I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't take away from someone their right to be seen in fiction, in a story and stuff. Like, you should be able to identify yourself with the characters you see in film, the characters you read in books and stuff. Like, everyone deserves to have that, okay?
Yes.
And I don't know. So
no, it's huge. And it's funny because it's kind of glossed. It's kind of just grazed over. It's just like a little moment.
It's just mentioned. It's casual.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a big thing. It's that
because I never thought about it that way, Jerry, ever. Now that you gave me a different viewing of that moment, because to me it was like a
you almost kind of see it like there's like there is something between them. I don't want to not necessarily sexual, but you see that there is a relationship there where he cares deeply about that droid, even though they like have this, we kind of hate each other kind of a thing, He runs out into that, which is a great shot, that's such a great like sequence, that shot where they're like, it's Lando is running out to save L3 and like the camera's going around all the action.
That is a great moment.
That is such great. It's such great choreography in that scene of him going out there like for her
with the pole falling. Oh, it's great,
man. I don't know. So do we want to just get into kind of the whole thing with L3? I don't know. Like, where do you want to go from here?
I kind of want to.
I think that might have been bigger than you wanted it to be, but
it was. But it makes me realize it in a different light.
Star Wars is for everybody, guys. Star Wars is for everyone.
Yes. It is. I kind of want to take this discussion still through the small little Easter eggs that we get in the Kessel sequence. Yeah. Then we can talk about the overall theme of Kessel because it leads to an important moment. I love the mining colonies, the worst comment. Mining colonies are the worst comment. It's a great comment because obviously we know what happened.
Right. It's almost like a wink, wink, nod, nod. But it is kind of cool to know. It's cool to get these characters. It's a character detail, right? It's like,
yes, it is.
You're going to be running one someday. And of course, his is way better.
Yes. Well, the fact that we get, the whole Kessel Run sequence, by the way, could be like 2 episodes of a solo show. Just saying. It could.
This could end up being 2 episodes with how long we're going, but it's.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Oh.
I love the dice being passed back, and maybe you can do some Star Wars counseling with me, Mr. Scrimshaw Cable. I don't understand the dice anymore because it used to symbolize, at least to me, and what we saw in TLJ and The Force Awakens, used to symbolize like Han's past, the fact that he won the dice. I mean, the ship playing Sabacc, which is true. But the dice were heavily involved, and then now it's like, not so much.
I know a lot of people kind of have the issue, like, why does he have them initially? that's what he wins. He was supposed to win the Falcon with him and all that. And
Yeah.
the whole thing with the dice for me now is it's something that it obviously has a special place in Han's heart, right? It's something that here, I'm gonna show mine while I'm talking about him, but it's a piece. It was a thing. For one thing, it was something only Uber nerds knew about back in the day. I didn't know about it until I didn't even really notice it until like I think right after the prequels had been done coming out. Till I was an adult legally. It's like, whoa, there's dice in there. That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But obviously, it is something that symbolizes luck and stuff, and that's Han Solo's character. Yeah. It's something that we don't know where it's still kind of legendary as to where did it come from. It's not necessarily how we got the Falcon, but it's something so important to Han that he takes it with him wherever he goes, right? We see him put it on that that speeder. It's like, why is he putting it on that? Because that is what's going to get him and Qira out of that life. He's like, we're getting out of here. What does he do? Okay, so that's when Han gets the dice back, right? What happened to the dice at the beginning of the movie? He gives them to Qira, right? And what does she say? For luck? Yeah, and he's like, dang right. Yeah, for luck.
Yeah.
He gives it to her that's his I'm putting it on this speeder because we're going to need all the luck we can get to get out of this. Here, you take the dice. This is my good faith that we are going to make it through this. And whenever they get to Kessel, that is her saying to him, that's what I just realized today, she waits to that moment because that's the moment when it's another moment with we're going to get through this. I'm passing it back to you. Here it is, man.
Yeah.
Here, I believe in you and we're going to get through this. This is for luck. And I kind of love that moment now. Where it was why does she wait until that point? It's because just narratively in the story, to me, it's if this job goes wrong, they're dead, right?
Yeah.
It's if their escape went wrong, they're dead, or Han thought he had lost him forever, right?
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, to have that be I'm playing the part right now and I'm going to punch you in the gut, but here, I really care about you and I want you to know we're going to get through this. This is for luck.
See, I never thought about him as luck, but now it makes more sense. But this is where I get a little confused because Luke gives it to Leia, which Leia then gives to, honestly, doesn't give it to Ben, but Ben.
Because that's those dice are it's a representation of Han Solo's character, right? His character is unlucky and lucky at the same time. Han Solo's superpower is that he's super lucky, right? He gets himself into crazy jams, but he gets out of them in the coolest and craziest ways ever. He's lucky.
Yes.
He just flies by the seat of his pants and wins. He just wins,
Each time.
He loses, but then he gets out of it in the nick of time and stuff. So Han Solo, dice, it's a roll of the dice. Han Solo's character is, I'm going to roll the dice. It's the last ditch effort, rolling of the dice, and he wins every single time. He loses a few, but before the game is over, Han Solo is not going to lose. Fair and square.
Good job, G.
You know what I mean? Luck is always on Han's side. He don't have to cheat. Lando has to cheat. Han doesn't. Think about that.
That's a really good mantra. Jerry, you just kind of had a beautiful moment. I had never really thought about it that way because it does represent everything Han Solo is.
Right.
The luck, the moment, and I don't know, and it is a lucky job. They end up successfully getting away with what happened. And interesting.
It's the whole movie is him proving himself, right? And you got to think about it.
Yes.
Everything kind of goes downhill for him. I'm just now realizing this. Yeah. Everything goes downhill for him until he gets those dice back, right?
Damn.
Then it starts to everything starts going his way again. It's I got the mojo back. I'm Han Solo. I'm gonna win. Like
Yep.
that whole Kessel Run sequence is one of my favorite sequences in Star Wars. Let's talk about the music real quick. I love that the title of the track that plays for that whole opening sequence with like, it's got the Here They Come cue and like the asteroid chase and all that. Is called Reminiscence Therapy.
Oh,
that has nothing to
that's
do
sick.
with the movie at all. It's just that, we put a lot of really good tracks in here for you to like. It's for you to remember and have therapy and like go.
That's great.
Star Wars. Did you not like? That's I've always
didn't know
like
it was
been
a
like
track
that's
name.
such a great title for that. Because for a while that was my
amazing.
favorite Star Wars track. It might still be. It's just it's great.
I'm gonna do a speed run real quick of all like the Easter eggs we get before they escape Kessel.
Right.
Okay, so some things we get that are insane, that are John Kaz amazing. We get Terrace Kasi. We get the droids, get the Chewie ripping off the arms of the people.
Right.
We get the droid control room, which is just a great moment. We love
Freedom.
that the droids free the humans in this, which is very interesting. Kind of like opposite of what we get with the Clone Wars. We get a malnourished Wookiee, which is amazing. You just see their little weird faces, and I feel so bad. You get a nut kick, by the way, where he goes ooh la la la, and he kicks that guy in the nuts. It's great.
That's what I said.
That's what I said. Yeah, and I love that. That's very Indiana Jones, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I love how L3 is the most human of all the characters because she's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing. We'll get to that on our Droid Sentience episode.
Oh man, I think she has one of the best comedic moments of Solo, honestly, where she's like, they're like, the droids free the slaves, and Han's like, "What are you guys doing up there?" And she goes, "I created a distraction." Then you've got the immediate cut to like the way she's so excited. She's like, "I created a distraction," and the droids up on the thing,
Yeah.
That's an underrated comedic moment for me. I feel like I don't know.
It's amazing.
That's the funniest moment of the movie.
On
to
the
me.
thing. It's great. I love that Anthony Daniels gets his cameo. As like, come on, whatever her name was.
Sagwa! Yeah.
Sagwa.
This way!
And I wondered, is that the same character he played in Attack of the Clones who's like really down on his luck and got enslaved?
I had that thought today because you've got Warwick Davis playing Weasel, his character from Phantom Menace. But I don't know. I think it's two different people. I don't know because he's like in Coruscant with Ahmed Best and stuff and George's daughter.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know. It could be. That would be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be cool. We get a story about him.
But let's stop making the galaxy so small, Scotty.
It's not. The next sequence is when they're escaping and the gun throw between Lando and Han.
Oh, so
Lando
beautiful.
and Han.
Was that 100% practical?
Oh yeah. Oh totally. And he catches it. He turns around and Han does the pose, like the stand like cardboard cutout pose we see.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. And I don't know, the next part that really kind of gets you, and it's the only really big emotional part in the movie, is L3 getting killed. And like it's brutal to watch. And I never really got emotional watching it. I watched it today and it was kind of like, damn, they like really drew it out in a good way.
They try to make you feel it and stuff. It's crazy how little L3's in the movie, but how big of an impact she kind of had. You know what I mean?
Amazingly big, yeah. And the way Ron Howard shot this, I think, is so him. This weird like follow shot, like under that pole, between the battles,
that's such
and
a
he skids
beautiful
to the
like
ground.
So
it's killer.
Well choreographed, man. So well.
It's amazing. And of course, Lando freaking out and bringing him in.
The way she gets
Chewie
shot like twice through the torso.
Yes.
With like those big guns and stuff. It shows you like the savageness of those weapons and stuff, like why those are so like in Mandalorian where they've got the E-web cannon and like they're like, dude, it's gonna vaporize people, I saw it vaporize my like troopers and stuff, and like he pulled like and just the top half comes and he just runs. It's
great.
Well, oh man, I don't know, not to like I feel like we need to keep on that kind of. Okay, let's stay on that for a minute with L3 and her death. And where do you stand on the whole, the droid who is all for droid sentience, getting her brain pulled out and put into the Falcon to help them escape?
The Falcon has a mind of its own.
Well,
Empire Strikes Back made that very clear. But I'll say that in a second.
Well, no. Well, I just, because that was a big thing. Like a lot of people were like, I feel really weird about this. Why did you make this whole big thing about her being for droid rights and stuff? And I mean, I even had a couple of friends who were like, oh, that's like kind of a caricature, like almost feminist or something. I'm like, well, in a way or something, but it's very, which the actress and stuff too, I'm Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Is that's like her personality and stuff is L3.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of character, but like she, the whole, like people had like a big problem with like this droid wants like freedom and you put her brain, she has to live forever, like being told where to go.
Interesting.
I can't remember exactly how they played it in the canon novelization.
They didn't say her mind. They didn't make it her mind. They strictly said that her navigational data is now a part of the Falcon.
That is my point. This is where it gets weird, okay? L3 was dead. I think the character we were talking about, L3, is gone. I think the personality quirks kind of come with the navigational data from the neurocore or whatever.
Because C-3PO in Empire Strikes Back says this ship has the most peculiar dialect. And if it was Sass and C-3PO, it would be amazing.
Falcon has always been a character in the movies, but what Ron Howard and what the Kasdans did was they actually made the Falcon a character that you got to know and see, talk, and walk around. And then now for the rest of the movies, that is the Falcon. The Falcon is that kind of like, no, I do what I want. That's why it's so like temperamental stuff. Again, I don't think it's actually her consciousness. It's not like eternal conscious torment or something. Like, stop telling me where to go. This is horrible. It's a hell for me. It's not conscious. It's that best navigational database in the galaxy, which makes the Falcon special with a little bit of personality quirk because, again, the Falcon, what is it, in a couple of books, it's been said that the Falcon has like 3 droid brains, right?
Yes.
In it, which is interesting. And like, I want to get to know the other 2, but to me, that's what makes the Falcon special against other ships, right? It's like, you've got other ships that are cool and stuff like that. And what is so cool about the Falcon is that it does have a personality. Again, not a consciousness and stuff, but like, it's almost like you have like a relationship with your car and stuff, right? But just, I don't know. I'm trying to be an apologist for it, I guess, but I get it. To me, I think it works. I think it works.
It does work. I think it works too because it's one of these things in Star Wars where like it's so subtle. And I get us as the mega fans, the UPFs as Mark Hamill calls us, ultra passionate fans. We cling to that.
Yeah.
And we get that.
But
it's weird.
Every original trilogy movie and sequel trilogy movie, I'm looking to see the screen.
Me too.
Now. I'm looking to see it, and I'm like, because that makes me go, she's there. That's her.
Yes.
Like that, not her, but like, it's like it's almost like, what was it like? The way Lando says it in there, he's like, she's a part of the ship now. It's like her memory lives on, basically, is what it is. It's not like, because I don't think Lando would have, if they had that close of a relationship, I don't think he would have put that in there if it was going to be like that. But they say it's like, she's got the navigation. Maybe we can pull her neurocore out, and then essentially now she's got a personality. It's almost like they lost their friend, but they're paying homage to her. Like, she would have wanted them to be able to get away and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so it's not like that's her like memory, the memory of her. They're keeping her alive in memory and saying like, she's showing us where to go. There you go, old girl. Come on, girl. Let's go. You know, like, come on, baby, don't let me down. All that kind of stuff. It's like, it's like we're talking to L3 without it being L3. But anyway.
Yes. I like it. No, I like it because, everyone's fear was Lando's going to show back up and the Rise of Skywalker and be like, how you doing, L3? And I'm glad that didn't happen. Remember that being a concern for a lot of people.
A lot of people were. I honestly would not have been like upset at all. I kind of wanted something like that, or like a "How you doing, girl?" or something. But it's not. I don't know, because I don't.
Not necessary.
I don't know. I guess it doesn't have to like have happened in the original trilogy.
Yes.
We just didn't see it happen. It's okay.
Yes.
He called it. Yeah. Come on, baby. Here we go, baby.
Yeah.
And stuff. I don't know.
Well,
I'm more lenient with Star Wars, I guess.
No, it's all good. It's all good, G. Get it out. That's the point of this podcast. We're here for that. People might have the same feelings that they're uncertain, and they might feel like me, where they're kind of confused, and now it's making more sense. I don't know.
I love L3.
Yeah, of course.
And the design, how she's like basically made out of. Was it not protocol droid, but astromech droid part. She was an astromech.
Yes.
And modified herself.
So awesome.
That's a cool idea. And that droid, gondola droid in Mandalorian. That reminded me of L3. I was like, that's a very L3-esque design, like almost,
Yes.
It's just, but not as it's like someone modified it. It didn't modify itself. I don't know. Like droid consciousness again. Sizzle, sizzle. We'll have a little bit of something coming about that later, maybe.
Of course. One thing I did really like after that scene happens, everyone's already gone back into the Falcon. Qira blows up the place. I love that Han. There's a follow shot that we've never gotten in Star Wars, where they literally show you leading into the Falcon. They show you where the layout is exactly, and they follow you and they follow Han back into the
man.
Oh, it's great. It's great. And they show, another small cameo. They show where the stowaway area is, where Obi-Wan and Luke right. It's killer.
Well, I love that shot when you were talking about where Han backs up into the Falcon, right?
Yeah.
Like that. That's such a cool shot. And that's funny because it's seamless. That's like two different shots, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it's great. I love when they leave Kessel and Han's playing it. They play the solo theme that John Williams had at the beginning, and then it goes into the
as he hops over the back of the seat.
Yep. And then we get to the part where could use a co-pilot. Is what Han pretty much says to Qira. Qira sits down. You could tell that Chewie's kind of like, I guess I'll sit back here. And it's great.
It's funny. It's almost like, I don't even get that. It's almost like Chewie's just such a nice guy. He's like, okay, anyone can do it. Chewie is so like Chewie doesn't have the whole girls can't fly or whatever, or Chewie is it's like a dog. Dogs are like the best judges of character. Animals are the best judge of character, but it's like a sentient dog going hey man, everybody can do whatever they want. Cool. I'm going to sit back here.
I agree.
I just like to hang my head out the window.
Well, it's the thing. This whole Kessel Run moment's incredible. And I guess if you want to touch base on just a couple of things you love, I'll go on mine just real quick. I love the new ships. I love the new TIE Fighter they showed just for that 1 second. It's great. I love the moment where Han spins the Falcon. The cockpit, of course, stays the same. Ding, and then the noise is like bong, poof, blows it up into an asteroid.
Almost sounds like a dodgeball getting hit with a dodgeball.
Yes,
boom.
Yes, it does.
Get that boom to it.
It's great. And then we get the Chewie theme. Oh, wish we got more. Oh, it's great. It's kind of like the Jar Jar theme. Doesn't get enough love. Just doesn't.
Man, so good.
The thing about the Kessel Run, to me, it's the only time really in a very long, I don't even know. I mean, I'm saying that. I'm just dramatic. I think the Kessel Run is a pure rush. A true rush of adrenaline, of moment, that scene, I'm watching it, and I think it's like a 17-minute scene, 15-minute scene.
It's a big chunk.
Speeds by. It's so quick. I love the Back to the Future reference. I love
my friend Needles.
The asteroid field. my pal Needles. I love the practical effect of the coaxium. I love that. I don't know. I love that L3 looks like an old hard drive, essentially. I think it's the first movie, like I said earlier, that plays at distance. Like, there's a part where they finally get away from the Imperials, and all you see is the tail light of the Falcon, and it's just going off, and it's super far. It's like you are like looking at it from so far away,
and they're like you can almost see the silhouette of whatever that creature is, like in the lightning through the clouds. It's like you see a glimpse.
The vacuum breathing creature. Oh, it's so good. And then the fact that the Maul is a giant gravity well. Remember before the movie came out, the soundtrack leaked, and it's like Into the Maul, and people thought there's like a big canon character that's like the Maul.
It was like the Maul was like
a force wielding.
It was like the mom. Yeah, it was like the
crazy.
mom of the force wielders on Mortis.
Yes,
I didn't know there was
like
such a big thing.
ridiculous.
Well, it was like, I don't know. There was a lot into that.
Into the Maul. People were freaking out.
They gave like homage to it because I think she could turn into like giant crazy creatures and stuff, like the giant like Cthulhu or Cthulhu, whatever, like weird bug eye. All
No, I know what you're talking about. Well, I don't know if you see the same thing as I do, but Han getting rid of the monster is so Han. But the thing that really triggered me in a good way was it's so George Lucas. The fact that they needed like a nitrous, they needed like something to get them out of it. And the
Fast and the Furious, Kessel Drift.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the Falcon now too. You know, the fact of like they had used coaxium to speed out of that area is just. Oh, it's bitchin'. Like, it is awesome.
It's like you can't just put it in the fuel line. It's very like sci-fi, like, oh, but we can do this. Like, we can't put it in the fuel line. The ship will blow up, which they play with in Resistance and stuff like that, you know? But just the fact that it's like, no, let's try this thing. Maybe we could do that. It's, I don't know, that whole, Joseph Scrimshaw talks about out of the frying pan and into the fire. That whole sequence.
Yes.
The entire Kessel run is 100%. It is quintessential Star Wars. It is one of my favorite sequences in all of Star Wars now. And
totally. They gave credence to a scene that was written, or I guess
a line of dialogue.
40 years ago.
This is the ship that made the Kessel run in 12 parsecs.
41 years ago. Oh, so good.
Well, it's like, I understand the two, like, you don't want them to explain every line of dialogue, but if you're going to make this Han Solo movie, why wouldn't it be about that? Like him making, that's how he made his name. It's the ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. And it's funny because he's rounding down and stuff. It's like, not if you round down, buddy, or something, you know.
Well,
so good.
The escape part is so good because they get out of it, and it parallels the scene earlier with the speeder, you know, when they get stuck. And I love that the music kicks in, and oh shit!
Yeah, just like
launch out of there. And then
it's such a
it's cool because it cuts immediately to Savarine, and that person's just sitting there. And it's like
it's such a good. Oh man.
Oh, it's great.
Everything. Like Beckett in the gunning turret and stuff. Like I love when they lose the turret and he's like, we just lost the gun and it really hurt my thumbs. Like, it's so
great.
good. So good.
That moment, that whole sequence is like pure adrenaline pod race. It's just great.
And setting up that the Falcon is all about like it's temperamental and it is going to break down at the worst moment. Only to save your freaking butt at the very last moment.
Very last second. Oh, it's great. And they get there, and you know, I love that the shot of the camera following the Falcon spins around the beach, crash lands is so good. And I love she's a hell of a ship. And then instantly he's like, I hate you. It's just so good.
The play and like the play on "I love you, I know" is like "I hate you, I know."
Yep. Oh, it's great. And one thing is cool. I didn't notice until this viewing. We need more Avengers of them, by the way.
Yes,
one
we do.
thing I noticed
Make solo to happen.
Qira was being so coy when she's like, "No, Han, you don't understand. You know, you can't just escape with me." The fact that it's Maul. It's not just Dryden Voss. It's Maul she's scared of. I never dawned on me till this viewing. I was like, oh,
And
shit.
Dryden too, like
You know?
Dryden talk about, you know who I answer to and what he'll say, you know, all that stuff early
and
on.
I'm like, oh my god, Maul's got to be ruthless right now. And then Han has the great heart to heart with Qira. I'm not a kid, you know. I'm not the kid you knew on Corellia. I'm an outlaw. And Kira's like, no, you're the good guy.
He's like, I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy.
Because it's so true.
You are the good guy.
In his heart. And he does. A New Hope proves it.
It's so
All of them
Han
prove
Solo.
it, too.
He has that like grin, that Han Solo grin.
Well, he
So
made
sure of himself,
Yeah.
but immediately like,
Yeah.
what the heck did I just do? Like,
Yeah. And then like the fact that he's trying to live up to his own name, but he will never live up to his own name. He thinks of himself as this super, I don't know, independent, like badass. And he is, don't get me wrong, but it's like, you're a softie.
he's
no
too
matter what you
loyal
say.
and he's too brave. Like he really
Yep.
is. He wants to be more of a coward, like run and do his own thing, but he cares
Yes.
too much about people, which is
Yes.
his greatest, he would say flaw. But the greatest strength of Han Solo is that
Yep.
he believes and cares for other people and will
that's
never
great.
stop caring.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he wants
and then
to.
And then the fact over here, we have like,
It's the death of him,
know,
in
the
fact, in
Marauders.
Force Awakens. Sorry, I just think about that.
yep. No, there's a cool parallel that I never saw into this viewing that you'll really like. I love that the Crimson Dawn theme, I'm sorry, Crimson Dawn theme, wait. I'm going to say the Marauders theme. The Marauders theme happens again, and they show them, and they have the classic Western shot with the hand on the gun, and Han does his typical Han, like, you see that ship over there? We got about
Bluff.
30 people.
Armed guards.
Yeah. And he's like, by the snap of my finger, by one sign, they'll come and the ship just takes off.
Oh,
Like,
it's so good.
That's incredible. I think that's pretty Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I think that was a little antidote that they probably coined.
I can
It's
see
just
that,
good.
but that is so Han Solo. That's so Han,
It
man.
is.
Like
Oh,
the
it's
big
great.
bluff and then the immediate like. It's like the opposite of the shrug in Return of the Jedi. It's
Yes.
the exact opposite.
Yes, it is. That's great, Jerry. Good point. I love that the Marauders or Infus Nest is like an early source of the rebellion. Never thought about that till this viewing too. Mm-hmm. Like it really is like the dawn of it.
You even have like
get-
one of the two tubes twins or whatever. Maybe it's just another.
Yadiro.
But you know
think it
the
is.
person they delivered the coaxium to in the novelization was Saw.
Yeah, Saw Gerrera, which is great.
Are you just gonna read now?
No, I'm looking for the character's name. I'm pretty sure it's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Edrio. Edrio's the one who's kind of been in this. He gets
Edrio.
Benthic into. Benthic is still running like his laundromat or whatever on
nerdy. This
on
is
their
bad.
homeworld.
We were literally like, this is so nerdy. Isn't it? I don't think it's in here.
I'm the canon junkie. I usually don't pull out my books, Scotty. You know, I'm like,
I don't think it's even in here. Interesting. Maybe I'm wrong. I just didn't see it. I don't know. One thing I will say is I really enjoyed how much went into this set as well. This is a cool set. And,
For sure.
Another great moment, too, is the fact that Beckett and Han have that scheming moment where obviously Han is aware that Beckett's going to end up betraying him. It's really cool. But one thing you'll really like, I never noticed this, Beckett legitimately touches Han's face. Never noticed that. And that really kind of plays into Han touching Ben's face later. I never noticed that.
whenever he
Legit.
like at the very
It's not
end.
like right before they walk away, right before he mentions the Tatooine, he does like a brief slap, holds it there, and then puts it on his shoulder, and then he walks away. And I'm like, ooh.
Wow, that is a
John
good parallel.
Kasdan John
I didn't even know.
John Kasdan wrote that scene. You got to keep in mind the Han and Ben scene from
Right.
from The Force Awakens. John Kasdan did write that. So
Wow.
something I noticed. Yeah, I'll pull it up. I'll send you a screenshot because I was like blown away by it. I was like,
wow.
whoa, really subtle, really.
That's
quick.
very subtle, but very
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Father figure. So, of course, the obvious, and it sucks, the obvious tie into a sequel. Find me a Tatooine big shot gangster, put together a crew.
The movie everyone
I'm
thought
sure
they were
it's
going to
me,
get,
this
like working for
sequel.
Jabba the Hutt and stuff. Like, nope,
Yes,
working for Darth
yes.
Maul. Plot twist, which broke the brains of anyone who has never seen Clone Wars but likes Star Wars. Like, I
Brutal,
can't tell you how
brutal.
many
My dad
times
was-
do we all get asked, so this is before The Phantom Menace?
My dad was so confused.
no.
My mom was like, wait, I'm so lost. And I'm like, yeah, they kind of really dropped that on everyone, you know? Yeah, there's one cool thing I want to bring up before that reveal. But the fact that Dryden is such a killer character, like really so good. And he's like, I never have to ask anything twice. What do you say? It's I never asked for anything twice, Han.
Khalil
And I'm
Cluffish?
like, oh, so good. So good. And then the mini twist, the like obvious like, you know, classic heist movie, like, here's the first twist. Oh, Becca's alive. Or Becca's there. The second twist is Dryden's people are like, wait, what? Then the third twist is that Beckett's like, bam, bam, yeah, I don't even need any of y'all.
I want to be the only. Yeah, I got to do some thinking, and I like to be the only one with a blaster in my hand while I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yes,
such a cowboy line. He's
and,
such a cowboy, man. I love that.
Well, then Dryden's like, Becca, what are you doing? It's so good. He freaks out. And Han's line is freaking awesome. People are predictable, and you are no exception. I'm like, oh, it's true.
I used your own logic against you, man. Like you taught,
Yep.
yeah, you did
Yep.
teach me something. Boom.
And Jerry, how classic was Dryden's death? It was so like old movie. Like she spins around. He's like, huh,
Yeah.
and he fall. It's so great.
It is, but it's funny,
a little
like
campy.
that went so much faster than I thought it would after like she started fighting
so
him.
much
It was
faster.
like boom. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
So much faster.
But like
It's amazing.
It's amazing because it's like Dryden is dangerous, but he's so much talk, right? That's why he surrounds himself with all these like protectors like Qira and stuff.
Yes. It's amazing.
It's great.
And then I love that Han, you know, after this movie is a character tormented by love. I never thought about that. He's jaded to love because Qira, you know, leaves him. And
yeah.
I don't know, but this is the last big thing I want to get on because this movie's ending is great. But this is the last thing I want to talk about, like big topic. What was that Maul reveal like for you? That was, honestly, for me, was the only time I was 1,000% shocked by something in Star Wars ever. Like, I was like, that was as big as, like, for me, as, like, the on your left moment in Endgame.
Yeah.
Or, like, even Captain America getting Mjolnir, whatever the hammer's name is. That
Mjolnir,
was as
yeah.
big. That was Mjolnir. That was that moment
meow
for me.
meow or whatever.
Yeah. Meow meow. But you know what I mean. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It was like because it was like, let's just bam, like cannon punch you in the face. It was insane.
It was a crazy shock to like it really was. And like at first I'm like, what? Like you start because you start to hear we had just gotten Maul's death like a year before that, right?
Yes.
Or like however long before that.
No, it
and
was,
like you hear Sam Witwer and you're like, wait, and you see the leg, like, no, what? Why? I think at first I was why? Like I understand his connection. I actually did. I was a little like, this was the only time like it shocked me, but then I was like, I had to do a little bit of the counseling stuff. I was like, what? That's cool, but
happening?
That's a flex, man. That is a choice and stuff. But like at first, I'm like, that is a choice that is just kind of way out of left canon field.
Sure.
And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, wow, I love that for canon and stuff that they like.
Oh my God.
This, like the next day I was like, this is 100% why. This is 100% like why we buy into the books and stuff, right? Like, it means something when something like that happens. And what is it? Like on Star Wars Day, they released like a trailer or something where it's like, it had the whole story. It had like cartoons and all that. And it was like, I think I tweeted out like, it all matters, guys. It all matters.
It does.
It's like, you don't have to watch all of it, but it all matters.
No. Well, that was the thing. It was like the expectancy of the Star Wars fans went from being like a 3 at most.
Right.
To legit going to like a 12 out of 10.
Right.
It was like, oh, Han Solo, Imperial era. And it was like young Han Solo, Imperial era. And it's like, this is before New Hope. This is before he meets Luke. And it's all really obvious. This is the Falcon when it was this. And then it's like, here's a character that died.
Yeah.
Last time you were when you were in the theaters in 99.
Well,
you know, it's like, because.
And remember, a big thing for everyone about this movie was like, Han can't meet a Force user because he doesn't believe in the Force and stuff.
Nope.
And can I say, I think Han can meet a Force user and think it's all crap. And people are like, why didn't Chewie tell him? It would like, dude, it's like you can have friends that are atheists who don't believe it. You can believe in God and your friend can be an atheist. You could still be friends and your friend could tell you this is like, whoa, here's a time that I saw God and stuff like, no, you could still be friends with some, I don't know. I don't think that you have to like keep Han away from lightsabers and stuff for him to like go, ooh, Force, the Force isn't real and all that. And but that they decided to throw Darth Maul in there as a Force user, as he is the big bad over, like he is the dark cloud over the whole thing. He's the one who's in charge of that syndicate. And that's why it's so dangerous is give us the Solo Disney Plus series, #Make Solo 2 happen. And show us how, like, what happens. What's that conversation between Maul and Qira when she goes over there?
Yes.
Like, show us Qira, like,
Dathomir.
flexing her, like, I'm going to survive underworld muscles with Maul. Like,
he literally is like, come to me on Dathomir. Like, they did not hold back.
He ignites his lightsaber for no reason, except for I think it's because.
I love it. I love it
too. It's 100% for intimidation.
Context, yes, and context.
Yeah.
And it's for people that like my dad that are like, oh, no way, that really is him.
It's like, it's the sky.
And Ray Park looking older really plays into Maul looking the way he does.
And
you know what I mean?
That they chose Sam Witwer to come back and do the voice instead of, I mean, Peter Serafinowicz, or I can't know if I'm saying it. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. He was great in Phantom Menace, but Witwer is Maul now. Like and Ray Park. Ray Park's the physicality and the voice of Darth Maul is Sam Witwer. Like,
oh, totally.
It's beautiful that is like in a film now. Like,
well, I remember in the theaters, like, and I freak out in movies. You see my trailer reaction. That's just how I am.
Oh, dude, me too.
And like, I can't help it. And like,
I just haven't been caught on camera
stood
yet
up in the theater. Yeah, exactly. But I legitimately stood up and was like, what the hell? I was like, what the shit? I was losing my mind. I was like, I can't believe.
I think that was my exact reaction was, what? Like, what?
Yes.
Whoa.
It's such a big moment because you're expecting Jabba. You're expecting a Pike. You're expecting something so not that. And then when you see that, I remember like seeing it with Troy. And I was like, dude, you have no idea what's going to come up. You know what I mean? Like, it's so unexpected. And I would love to have seen myself that night because I was like, I was just shocked.
Dude,
but
we all were.
It was a great moment.
We all were. Not that shocked. I haven't been that shocked since that, except for Mandalorian finale where Gideon, like the Darksaber pops out of the hull of the TIE fighter. That was the last time I think that I went like, what? And like realized it was 5 in the morning. I don't want to wake up my family, you know? So.
Dude, I feel
Star
that.
Wars,
and,
it gets us.
Well, the movie at this point's amazing. I mean, the whole movie is great, but like it's coming to an obvious close, and you can tell the pacing of it. And it kind of ends really quickly after Qira leaves. Like it really does kind of like boom.
It's like boom boom. Yeah.
We get a 4th act, which is something we never get in Star Wars, and you get like Han getting in the ship at the very end, which is I think it might even been a rewrite because it's such a cool ending.
He gets the dice back, and from then on, luck's on his side, dude. It's his lucky charm, you know?
And,
fair and square,
great,
baby.
actually.
Fair and square.
Well, how cool is it when Han shot first, number one. Let's just be really on that one.
In that moment.
Let's sit on that for a second. Yeah. I love that Han held Beckett when he died. And I was like, yeah, that's really awesome.
It's
beautiful.
It's a beautiful juxtaposition because it is
guy.
that I do care. He is a good person. He shot him because he knew what was going to happen.
Yep.
And I mean, we can get into we don't have to debate the Han Greedo thing, shooting first or whatever. Like, I understand everyone likes the one where he just blasts Greedo, like blows him away. It's still, I think we said this before in our special edition episode, right? Where we're like, to me, he still shoots a guy in cold blood. It's like so close together. I don't know. To me, it's like they've edited it closer and closer and stuff. I know it's still funny.
Well,
but
I want to get to one last thing before we close this whole thing out, because it's interesting too, because it's kind of a tie-in to Han, who he is in Empire Strikes Back and New Hope. The first person he calls kid is Enfys Nest, and I think it's I think it's pretty cool.
He's like, I'm the big tough guy now, right?
And he kind of, and that's an interesting arc for him, because he had to kind of do something he didn't want to do. He did not want to kill Beckett, you could tell. Yeah. I love one thing, and this is such a cool canon moment, because I freaked out when it happened, was the same, I don't even know how they achieved it. They must have studied the video like millions of times, but it's the same exact rough hug that Lando gives to Han in Empire Strikes Back.
It is. Yeah, he like grabs the card and stuff. How you do? Well, it's a complete
together.
Like flip.
Yep, it's amazing, shot for shot. Like, I wish I might try to edit it together, because it's so good. It's literally that.
It's Han and Chewie pretending to be like upset and like, ha, how you doing, you old pirate? You know, like.
Yep, it's amazing. It's so good, and it's the same exact thing. And this rematch is like the fourth act. It's like the final act of the whole thing, and they get the Falcon, and they. You know,
I love that you can barely see it because his shirt is so dark, but I love that Han is wearing the vest, right?
Yes, he is.
Today I was thinking too, like, I need to get that shirt and vest combo, because that's a more subtle than like the white or cream shirt. Yeah, I really need to get that. I think I could wear that in real life. So we'll see. You may see me at the grocery store with a mask and a Han Solo vest. Who knows?
The rematch is amazing, and
so good.
The coolest part, I think, it's so subtle, is him and Chewie put their hand on the I guess the hyperspace ignite.
Yeah, the punch it.
And they went boom, punch it, and they don't even say it; they just do it together, and then it shows the dice.
Well, like the whole that whole suite, like them like flying from the planet, like doing a corkscrew almost, like.
Oh, it's great.
All of that. That it's a great ending
Solo's
sequence.
a great movie.
It's great. And like the whole ending on the dice. Which again, that is Han Solo's character. It represents Han. Han is luck. Dice.
Good job with that,
is
Jerry.
luck. Dice represent luck. You know, all that. It's 100%. That is Jerry. Han's character. And so, again.
Let's see your dice. Show us your dice.
Shout out to the dice, baby.
Guys, this was a long one, but a good one. And I hope you enjoy the commentary.
Longy, but a goodie? Yeah. So this is essentially, and you know what? I think I'm going to... by the time you guys are seeing this, you might have seen a couple of teases about the Bombad Buildup returning and stuff. So the Bombad Buildup has returned with a vengeance. An over 3 hour, possibly, vengeance.
Oh, it felt good. Oh, it will be.
Depends on if we include the pee break, but we'll see.
The AirPod flyover. No, thank you so much. And if y'all really enjoy this, and it's a long one, please subscribe, like, share, rate us 5 stars, which is something you don't even do anymore. I think you do that on iTunes, but remember YouTube used to have the rating system.
Yeah. Maybe we can pull out a couple clips for this so you don't have to watch the whole 3 hour thing. I don't know. We'll see.
But please, if you really liked it, head over to the Beyond the Blast Doors Patreon page, become a patron for us, and
Do it.
You know, happy we'll be about that. You need to give us your money. And we know that you can keep up with us online at beyondtheblastdoors.com, and you can always find Jerry and I living on social media because we're so good about
living.
I'll be cleaning up my classroom this
That's how
week.
anyone
Try my
lives
best to
anymore,
live on
right?
it. Yes, yeah, totally. Quarantining on your phone. Follow us on Twitter at Bombadcast. Make sure you follow Jerry and I on Twitter as well if you'd like to. And if you want to be on the show, send us a message. We'll be good. We'll figure it out. But Jerry, what should the good people do?
You should stay home, stay safe, and you should most of all
make Solo 2 happen. Make Solo 2
make Solo 2 happen. Hashtag make Solo 2 happen. Stay bombad. Or as you would say in Tree Woke. Good night.
You shall all bombard.